In progress.
Okay, this is a regular meeting of the Wellfleet Selectboard, Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. It says 2024 on my... oh, it makes me a year younger. Time is now 6:03, and as customary, we will begin with announcements and public comments. Public comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. The board will not deliberate or vote on any matter raised solely during announcements and public comments. With that, do we have any announcements from the board?
Just very quickly for the public. So last night, the members of the Wellfleet Select Board, members of other select boards, and staff from other towns met with the director of Outer Cape Health Services, discussing the challenges posed by recent federal changes that could impact the health center. It was duly posted on the town website, and I just wanted to inform people of that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Josh?
Good evening, everyone. I'll be holding office hours on Monday, December 8th from 12 to 1 in Town Hall in the second floor conference room. So if there's anything you want to talk about, ask any questions, I'll be there from 12 to 1.
Thank you, Josh.
Excuse me, if we
Yeah.
could just say that this is part of a goal setting that we put forward. This was one of Josh's. And we hope to rotate select board. I was going to put mine out today too, but you got me on the month. So anyway, but it was something we discussed, and I think it's a good thing to do. So it would give you a line into speaking with us, and we could have a conversation and bring it forward. So write that time down.
Okay. It's on the website. Along those lines, anyone who wishes to get a hold of me, just send an email to my town email, and I can meet any time, anywhere you want. So, Tomas, I think this mic's a little hot. This mic is a little hot.
Hi.
Hot.
Temperature-wise?
Loud.
Loud.
Yeah. Okay.
Smoking.
Anyone else on the board? Okay, hearing none, then is there anyone in the room who has a comment they'd like to make? Seeing none, do we have anybody online? We have one hand raised, Jude Ahern.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll keep it brief because I know it's a big agenda, and I'll save my comments for the public hearing on the rental registry. But I did want to talk briefly about your sewer commission meeting, which was on November 25th. First of all, I think it'd be helpful if on the videos for the town video, there was a section for the sewer commission, because otherwise you have to put in the search term commissioner, unless I've missed something. But I want to draw everyone's attention to it because they've laid out these proposed sewer districts. And I just wanted to remind everyone that a proposed sewer district, by our definitions, is one that's been voted on by the select board. So it's not rumor, or it's not where it might go by, it's a select board vote. So recently, a property that should have been upgraded, they decided not to because they heard a sewer might go by, and that's just simply not going to be the case. So that would be great if you could do that and really bring us into the conversation sooner rather than later. I know that's important for you. As far as the appointment later on for Rebecca Eldridge, you're not taking comments, so I just want to say I think it is a conflict of interest, if nothing else, in appearance, and it's really important to keep NGOs separate from the town, especially one that does so much business with us with Oysterfest. And I would say that she's very involved with the town, and in fact, RTA has said that she runs the town. So if you would be okay with our TA being on that board, then I guess you don't see a conflict, but those are his words. And it's just too close, and there's a lot of money going in and out. But I've been asking for their Form 990s for 7 years now, and they're not willing to share them. So I would hope that if this appointment does happen, that you will support my quest for those. But I do hope that they shared the parking information with the people who are going to be presenting next, because that's something that you can glean from the Form 990. And I'll save my other comments for another time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jude. Is there anyone else? Hang on.
Just as a statement of fact, if I may, Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, as long as we don't get
Yep.
into a discussion.
So just to be clear to everybody, the sewer districts that we've been looking at are being designed by our consultants. The select board hasn't taken a vote on adopting any sewer districts yet at this time, and I just want that on the record. That's what.
Okay, and I would add to that before any decision is made, there will be public hearings and public input. Okay, I see a hand raised. Well, we only get one bite at the apple, so Jude, if you could save it for the next meeting. Or, I don't see any other hands up, so. All right. Then let's move on to, I understand that the parking issue is not going to be addressed tonight because the consultant was not able to make it due to road conditions?
Snow. That's, yeah, the snow, that's what he intimated to us.
Okay,
And that's just as well, because we want to have the materials here before he presents, so you can have a chance to review them, and he hadn't gotten them to us yet.
okay, all right, then in that case, this item is going to be tabled. We'll move on to public hearings. The first public hearing is with our housing coordinator, Ann Schiffenhaus, to review and vote on the Wellfleet short-term registration housing fees. Is that to go up to the table?
Not up here, can
Do I have a copy of the?
And I guess at this time, I would
Okay.
open the,
Yeah.
formally move to open the public hearing.
You don't have to move, you just declare it open as the chair.
Okay. One of these days, I'll get it straight.
I? It does seem to change.
Yeah, there has to be a motion to close.
I have
so.
to stay.
Okay, then I declare the public hearing now open on the Wellfleet short-term
Love to understand.
rental registration housing fees.
If we,
So I'm not 100% sure how I'm supposed to roll here, but,
You gotta get closer to the mic.
oh, closer to the mic. Hi, so,
you could identify yourself.
You have to eat it, pretty much.
sorry, it's running
You
hot.
try. Oh, no, it's not right.
No, it's not.
You can have mine if you want a real shocker.
Okay, how about this
This
one?
works.
Is this one
There you
work?
go.
Okay, great. So the Massachusetts State Building Code 10th edition mandated as of January 1st this year that all short-term rentals in Massachusetts have to be registered and inspected with the town. They gave a 6-month grace period through July. I came on in August and was alerted by our conservation agent that this is something we need to do, so Tom asked me to research policies of other towns on the Cape and in Massachusetts and come forward with some information that can be presented to the select board for review, editing, changing, whatever policy you feel as a board is the most comprehensive for the town, clear, and how you would like to initiate this. Out of all the other towns on Cape Cod, it's only us and Brewster that haven't done something yet. Other towns started it in 2019 when the Department of Revenue required towns to start, short-term rental property owners to start paying taxes. There is also law, Megan's Law, that's being discussed at this time, which may require all short-term rentals to be inspected by a fire department or someone certified to inspect the smoke and fire alarm. So this is all grown out of health and safety. That's what this is about. I think it's, a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity for me to look to see, what type of percentage of our households are renting short-term. It's significant. It's almost half. So for us to be able to stand as a community from a first responder perspective, from a economic development and who's our population and how to support them, I brought this information forward, but it is for you to take a look at and figure out how we can best formulate a policy to move forward.
Just for the public, can you talk about the absolute numbers that you found for the different
Sure.
type of rentals and the sizes of homes?
Yeah, I have some of that information, but in what I was able to assess from the Department of Revenue report that I got was there's 955 rentals, short-term rentals. 200 are owned by year-round residents who I'm sure supplement their own income by renting out. 755 were second homeowners. We have one here in the room right now. And out of that, majority were three-bedroom. I don't have the stats, but I think it was close to like 35% was three-bedroom. Second bedroom was next. And we have condos, we have multiple houses, we have homes with cottages that rent, and it's the fabric of our community. This is not something new. This is just something that, due to some unfortunate accidents and deaths that have happened across, just in Massachusetts, the states are taking a more serious look and want our community to know where people are, what they're renting, and to ensure that our tourists and our homeowners have a safe, habitable place for renters to come into.
I have a question. Some time back, the state instituted a requirement to register for tax purposes.
2019.
Yeah. Is this registration separate from?
Yes, separate.
Okay.
You register with the state so you can pay your taxes for the income you receive. This is a separate registration just with the town. So that
But
we
it's
know
required by the state.
it's required. By the building code, it's required.
Okay.
Registration and inspection.
At this time, I'm going to recuse because I have a small cabin that I rent out short-term, and I don't think it would be right for me to vote on this. So I'm going to ask my vice chair to.
During this, I will. I think you can ask a question. However, may I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're gonna throw these questions at you, so hopefully educate people here, and maybe we're gonna ask some of the questions they would, but feel free to repeat them if you didn't quite understand the answer. So every person is being required to have this inspection once a year when the season starts, I would imagine?
Not everyone. So if you are a non-primary, so you're a second homeowner and you rent your house short-term for longer than 31 days, you are expected to have an annual inspection. If you are a year-round homeowner, which that seems to be, that 200 pool, you have to do it every 3 years.
Every 3 years, regardless of how many days, do they also are held at 31 days?
31 is the thing. If you rent for 4 weeks, this does not apply to you. When you
Okay.
go hit 31 days consecutive over, it does.
And if I have, all right, so if I'm a homeowner, I don't have to do it, I have to do it every 3 years.
Correct.
If I am a seasonal
Homeowner.
homeowner, I have to do it every year.
Correct.
If I rent over 31 days.
Correct.
And if I own more than one dwelling, I have to do it for each of them.
Correct.
And it's just this one fee for that one time.
Might want to
Correct.
follow up.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
What's an annual fee?
It's an annual fee, but it's, Whatever we decide that fee is going to be tonight is going to be the fee.
Correct.
The one-time fee.
Right. So every year when you register, you will
You'd
pay
hit-
the
that's gonna
fee
be
to
your pay.
register and get the home inspection,
You
yes.
can participate.
I think Barbara.
I have a question, but I can wait until, if something needs to
I
be
will
resolved.
recognize you. They were just chatting.
Okay, okay, thank you,
Filling
thank
in
you.
the job.
So through the chair, thank you, Ann, for your continued work on this. I think it's important to note that the inspections are a new requirement and a necessary thing for us and other towns to do, but there are other reasons to have a short-term rental registration and to set fees. It's revenue for the town to put to other purposes, for example, for housing, which is something we've talked about, because there is a relationship between the use of properties as short-term rentals and cost to the town. So I just want to make sure that we just distinguish between the need to have these inspections and what that's going to cost the town and how we can manage that cost. But just having a rental registration system in place is helpful for the town, in part for the revenue, but for the health and safety reasons also. Thank you.
Just a question before I officially recuse. Would you say that the year-round homeowners that rent short-term represent more or less than 10% of the year-round population?
Well, it was 200, and I think
And how many houses?
Nancy Vale said, I think we have around 2,100, so about 10%
21 registered people here that live here, folks.
year-round, 21 households. That's what she told me.
So,
Population is 3,500.
well, but
That's
Right,
total.
but that's,
2,100 households.
so I can have 5 people in my house. Right.
Right. So when you
Is the
think about it,
threshold of
that's counting
recusal-
families.
The threshold for conflict of interest concerns is 10%, as I was just given to understand. So
It's 9.
I better be on
9.6.
the safe side.
Yeah, but you can follow up later. Josh has experience with,
I've had many conversations with state ethics about
So-
the presumptive financial conflict. I believe it's 10% of the population, not 10% of households.
Oh, okay.
So I do believe you would have a presumptive conflict.
Okay.
You can speak to state ethics, and they'll give you further guidance.
I don't think there's any need. I'll just recuse.
yeah, and you might want to get the figures run by the assessors and checked by the town clerk.
Okay. All right, so,
Okay, I'll take over.
all right.
Thank you.
I-
I believe, Josh, you had a question.
Yeah, a
I'll
question
go to
and
you, Tom.
and more of a statement. I think this hearing's a little strange in that the hearing is for registration rental fees, but the fees are encapsulated within a larger regulation body that we can discuss in tonight's meeting. However, they weren't, while the first draft was advertised at our last meeting 2 weeks ago, there have been revisions since then. And so what I would make a suggestion to the board, if the board agrees, is that we hear public comment, we have a productive conversation this evening, but we don't close the public hearing, and we continue this conversation to our next meeting in 2 weeks, so we can have further conversation, and we can circulate the full regulations that encapsulate the fees, and then we vote then. How does everyone feel about that?
If I can say, I think that is the way it should be, that we have a full public hearing and digest those comments and think about them. That's why we have a public hearing, not just to say we have a public hearing and then go vote the way we were going to do anyway. So it's good to hear people's feedback. That's why it's a public hearing. And so if everybody else agrees, I am in favor of that. And so that's how this will be conducted tonight. It will be a full public hearing with decisions coming in 2 weeks.
Well, this is a public hearing right now, so if anybody's here made the time to come and see us, I would definitely want.
Thank you.
to-
Thank you. I would just vote to do that. So unless the board has any other questions, Tom has a
I just wanted
comment
to
and
be-
Barbara has a comment, and then I'd like to hear from the public.
I just wanted to be sure Ann was concluded her
Yes.
presentation.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm good. I
And I
have no
don't-
problem sitting back down.
No,
No,
that's
no, we
fine. I
want you
just.
to be here
No,
because there will
you
be
stay right there.
questions.
Okay,
You're
I'm
not
ready.
off the hook yet, Ann.
Um,
So,
So The draft regulations, we've kind of talked as a board, but we didn't actually get into talking about the fees. The one question I would have is, I know it's a much smaller population, but in terms of the number of homes, but I would like, in addition to, right now, it stops at 4 bedrooms plus. There's, I know it's a smaller number of houses, but, there are houses with many more bedrooms than that, and typically they also rent for significantly more. So I would just want at least one additional step, if not two, in terms of the fees charged by bedroom size of the house.
I'm sorry, you'd like to have 2 different types of fees?
No. So right now it goes 4+ bedrooms. So instead of like 4+, you could go like 5 and then 6+ or something like that. There's a few properties that's like, I know one that's like 8 bedrooms, 9. And they rent for a really large amount of money. And it's also a much larger house that somebody has to visit. So I would just want, additional steps in terms of collecting at least, I know it's a much smaller number of houses, but I think it's worthwhile to still try to collect that.
I'm going to go to Barbara first because her hand was up. Go ahead, Barbara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to make it more interesting, I'm going to advocate for a flat fee and a flat fee for inspections as well, but that can wait.
Yeah, and that's going to be our discussion, so save all your thoughts.
No, I know.
Because we do have other input coming in. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I share a similar sentiment to Member Curley. I think there should be a base fee for studios and 1-bedrooms, and I think there should be an incremental fee for each additional bedroom, so that it just accelerates with the size of the house.
Right.
So, back of the napkin math I did was $350 base and then $100 per bedroom extra as a starting point for conversation.
Okay.
So as I'm writing edits, so you're thinking start with a flat rate and then just say additional bedrooms X.
Each additional bedroom above 1
This is
bedroom.
a theory,
yeah.
but we're not voting on these things
No.
tonight.
No, but this is the
possibilities.
conversation, and then,
Sounds good.
No, I think that, are there any other questions from the board before we open it up to public comment? And then we'll reserve to come back to the board afterwards if you have any other questions after that. Seeing none?
There's online, Jude has her hand up.
Okay, I think I'll start with somebody in the room first, and then we'll go to Jude. Yes, please come to the mic and introduce yourself.
Hello, members. Thank you very much. My name is Matt Rosenberg. My home in Wellfleet is on Spring Valley Road. I think that, and I wrote you all a letter the other day with comments, so I'm not going to repeat those. With one exception, Member Carboni said that this is a revenue-raising, there is a revenue-raising function to these fees. My understanding is that any permit fees that a municipality may impose must only be related to the cost of delivering the service that those fees are tied to. Any use of those funds specifically as general revenue, or even revenue with a specific and laudable purpose, would be considered a tax, and you don't have the authority to levy that sort of tax. That's not been given to you by the state. Most important to me, though, as a short-term rental owner, is that in the draft of the ordinance, which I actually just read yesterday after writing you, I didn't realize that it had been discussed at the prior meeting. There are a lot of very, very unworkable requirements, and I understand that these are just a sort of an amalgamation of elements that Ms. Schiffenhaus had culled from other towns and localities far and wide. But in terms of creating a cohesive set of requirements that apply to Wellfleet, I think it would be beneficial for you to take input from homeowners, rental owners like myself, because we've spent an enormous amount of time thinking about how we can and can't manage our rental properties. And there are some things that, I mean, I want this to be the best registration law in Cape Cod. I fully support all of the safety requirements that the state is asking you to impose. I don't think anybody should be in a rental that is unsafe. I don't think any owner should offer a rental that is unsafe. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, thoughtful work about taking these elements and crafting a quality local law. As I mentioned in my email, I am a trustee in the Village of Dobbs Ferry, New York. Like yourselves, I legislate local law, and generally speaking, we would have a commission that would look at something like this and take input outside of a public hearing in a more informal context to collaborate on working out the details with stakeholders. So I would like to volunteer to consult with you guys on this. I spent a lot of years trying to figure out how best to run a rental property, and there are things here that just are not possible. And I'll just speak to one as an example that's the most far out, which is the idea that rental owners should be able to create a log of what bedroom each individual guest sleeps in, which may work for a summer camp with counselors, but does not work for a rental property where we have families coming in. I personally would not like to ask my guests, where the teenage girls are sleeping.
All right.
So I understand that I'm probably over my 3 minutes here. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions as a rental homeowner, and I would love the opportunity to collaborate with you on crafting a good law. But I thought it was important enough to drive for 4.5 hours to come up and address you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may just
Yes,
respond to
go
one
ahead.
of Ms. Rosemore's comments. So when we speak about revenue, and you're absolutely right, it has to be applied to the services provided. However, you may want to refer back to this board's conversation at our previous meeting 2 weeks ago. The cost of either hiring new staff or contracting staff to do these inspections is going to be tremendous, to manage the registration, to pay for the housing coordinator position. More so, I believe UMass Dartmouth produced a study that shows a direct correlation and causation between short-term rentals and the affordability crisis we're experiencing in the Outer Cape. The town is incurring a tremendous expense to try to fight that. And so I think that there is a reasonable argument to be made that the short-term registration fees are being applied toward the cost of allowing short-term rentals in the town of Wellfleet. No one is trying to make a quick buck off of this. I do think, though, that the townspeople of Wellfleet are paying a tremendous amount of money because of the prevalence of short-term rentals. And that's not to demonize short-term rentals at all. It's part of the culture of the Outer Cape. But we have to accept the fact that the frictionless process of Airbnb and VRBO, et cetera, has made the opportunity of creating a short-term rental so easy for individuals that it's now becoming a real crisis. And so I do think that it's reasonable to allocate some of those fees that we collect on the short-term rental registration to paying for the solutions the town is deploying to try to at least put a dent in the affordability crisis out here.
May I quickly add my comments?
Yes, you may.
Please. Thank you, and I don't mean to make this
No, and we're not going to
dialogue.
go into a whole, go ahead.
But I, in my capacity back at home, I have led the Affordable Housing Task Force in our local community, and I am nothing but sympathetic to that, and I recognize with, a certain amount of guilt that, people like me are contributing to the affordability crisis that you guys are experiencing. And I've been watching with fascination and using the example of the efforts that you're making to address that in our own affordable housing efforts. So I don't mean any of this without respect for that. But I think that the reasonableness of a fee is not really the question here. The state provided an excise tax of 6% on rental income for use by the town as general funds, which you can dedicate however you would like. But the definition specifically of a permit fee for a municipality is that it must be directly related to the cost of delivering the service, not to make up for the fact that there are other potentially somewhat related things that that money can be applied to. So I don't want to get into a legalistic argument, but, this started at a, 400 or so-ish thing. I recognize that there are expenses that are tied to the delivery of services, personnel, software, et cetera. But, just round numbers, if there are 1,000 rentals here and there's an average of, say, a $400 fee, you're giving yourself a $400,000 budget in order to meet those expenses, which may or may not be the right amount of money, but, but that's how they should be tied. And I actually did not come here to debate fees.
Right.
I came here to say the rest of the ordinance needs a lot of work.
Okay.
But
So
that's
I appreciate all of your statements and yours, Josh, and I don't want to really belabor, is it legal or not?
Okay.
We can have that later.
Sure.
So-
Madam Chair, may I just briefly,
Yeah,
very
go
briefly?
right ahead.
So, I'm Barbara Carboni. We're very well represented by town council, and I promise you, we will run this by town council to ensure that we are in compliance with this interesting area of law involving taxes and fees. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Yes, Tim, please come up and identify yourself, even though we know you.
Good evening, Tim Sayer. Through the chair to Ann, please. You said that residences that aren't rented out short-term would have to be inspected once every 3 years also?
No.
Is that what you said? Then what was the 3 years that you talked about?
If you have a short-term rental and you are primary resident, it's every 3 years.
Okay, so
So if you rent 2 rooms in your house,
less than 30 days, 31
no.
days?
No. If you go over 31 days.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you go over 31, you're going to have the license that you talked about.
Right.
Correct.
If it's less than 31, then you don't, and the 3 years kick in, right?
No, you don't have to do it at all.
You don't have to do it at all.
If you are
Who has- I'm sorry.
okay.
Sorry.
Who has to do it every 3 years?
The building department or someone it will be, if you are a short-term, you're one of those 200 that are year-round residents that rent out their primary occupant dwelling, that will be every 3 years. If you are not a primary resident here, like Matt, who is just renting out for whatever weeks, that will be annual. That's the way the state building code. I have it right here if you want to just read it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
That's why I asked you.
no
Cleared
problem.
up the confusion on my part. So with that said, you're looking at 2 different stages here. One set of people are going to have to pay this fee every year. The other set aren't going to have to pay the fee every year if they're
Inspection fee,
Right.
not the registration fee.
Correct.
Registration fee you still have to
Right.
pay.
So you have 2 different issues. The other issue I see is that you have a registration issue, you have an inspection issue. I think you should be looking at it as 2 separate entities, okay? I know that this has been looked at as a cash cow. I've heard people on this board, and I can go back to recordings saying it should be $750 because that's what one town charges, okay? At that rate, 740 homes, that's $500,000, $600,000 that would be collected, okay? Even at 350, you're going to bring in $260,000 based on 740 homes, okay? You're already given $1.3 million every year because of short-term rentals. You're also given a fee on houses that sell over a certain amount of money every year in this town and our budget. That was passed by the select
No,
board,
sir,
right?
no, sir.
Wasn't it passed?
No.
Didn't pass, good, I'm glad to hear that, time to sell. I could have sworn that it was, thank you for correcting me. But you're given money. You've taken that money, you were told you can do what you want with it. It's because we have short-term rentals that you get the 1.3 million, okay? That money shouldn't be going into your budget. That money should have been set aside. I know what happened with Dan Hort, and Waldo and everybody else, but you've got to figure out how you can pull that money out. You're going to have to raise taxes in this town. Yeah, I'm standing up here saying that, okay? We're talking about 7.11 this year is the number I've seen on papers written down so far, okay? I haven't double-checked it. You're going to have to raise taxes. We all know that. You have way too much infrastructure in this town that needs to be taken care of. You already take care of the people that live here year-round, which I am one of, by giving me a discount on my taxes, which put on the backs of the people that are short-term or second homeowners here, okay? They're also putting a 14.45% tax on anything they rent out. There's lots of money coming in, okay? The problem is there's too many projects going on here. There's too much money that gets spent here on things. If you want to spend this money, sit up here and raise the tax rate. Make it 8.0. That'll bring in another $3 million a year, okay? So I know I'm getting off track here a little bit, but you need to look at this as two separate, in my opinion, individual things. A rental registration and inspection registration, because inspections, you can say, okay, these types of homes every 3 years. This type of home every year, okay? And we go from there. Appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for answering my question. Thank you for setting me straight on that one thing.
Thank you,
I
Tim.
appreciate it.
Is there anyone else in the room that would like to speak to this? If not, Jude, you still have your hand up?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you really for everyone's comments, and the guy who drove from New York, I've done that before, thank you. And I agree with Josh, thank you for putting this off for another 2 weeks. I think everyone agrees it needs some more work. But to pick up on Tim's point about the registration being separate from the inspection, one thing that I thought is that, okay, so we have 1,000 properties that we're going to be registering and looking at. Why don't we use this opportunity to get as much data out of that as possible, that we already have, really? And that being, the water tests and the septic tests. I already get tested for septic, so I'm happy to share that. But as Tim was saying, from then those 1,000 properties, we can really get true data instead of having to listen to these sewer commission meetings that are just not based on any reality. It's all numbers. So we could use this opportunity in that way. And as far as, it's not Megan, it's Maggie Hubbard. And the cap on charging for that is $100 per property or $500 for a 6-unit building. And that includes smoke detectors, carbon monoxide, and the fire safety code. And as everyone has said, that all makes sense. But the fee, Josh, that you talked about this at the Affordable Housing Trust, and you saw it as a revenue source for them. And they were disappointed when you brought it to the select board, and the select board said, sure, sounds like a great idea, but we're going to spend all the money, to run the program. So it's always been seen as a money-making thing, and I'm glad that you've now seen that there are legal issues there, because it definitely seems like you're putting a huge burden on people who already give, $1.3 million by housing these people who pay a lot of money. There's a big spread between what we net and what they're paying. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to make this better. I think, but we should really get the water and the septic information while we're at it, or you're seriously not serious about the nitrates at all. Because we're blamed for that. Devasco talks about the parties with the cesspools on the water. Do they exist? We should know that. We're only looking at 1,000 properties now. We should know how many have cesspools. how many are Title Vs, how many are IAs, and what those scores are. We have all that data, and it doesn't cost $600,000 a year to get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude.
Madam Vice Chair, may I quickly respond? Just-
Sure, as long as we don't go
Two
into a
others.
debate.
No, there's,
Others with their
there's a
hands
comment directed towards me, so I would just like,
Okay.
to one, I appreciate Mr. Hearn reminding everyone that I have spoken very vocally that I do believe that the short-term rental registration fee should be applied to affordable housing. As Member Carboni reminded everyone, we have excellent legal counsel, and if they find it to be appropriate, then it's appropriate. If they find it to be inappropriate, it's inappropriate. However, I think that it is very reasonable for part of this to pay for the expense that the town is incurring to try to find more affordable housing. So I appreciate that. I don't think that was derogatory at all. I'm very much planted on the record, but it will be legal counsel's decision.
So, thank you, Josh. And I just want to clarify that, a lot of things that are said by myself and other board members are sometimes our opinion. And once we get together, we'll come to a consensus on those opinions. So, is there any other public comment?
There's two people online with their hands
And,
raised.
all right, could you,
The first one is Carissa Rogers Mounts.
Mounts?
Yep, M-O-U, Mounts.
Mounts. Ms. Mounts? Rogers Mounts? Is that the name?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. I was just want to make a comment that along with the registration fee being applied to the amount of bedrooms, I think it should be applied to the occupancy. Because as we know, people put in cots or pull out couches or other things. And I just think that would be helpful.
Unfortunately, you have a bad connection.
Yeah, so,
Was everybody able to hear what?
not fully, so what I would recommend is for her to write us a comment,
Yeah,
and we can
can
collect
you
it that way.
access the chat there?
No,
No,
not
no,
the
no
chat.
chat.
We
No
don't
chat.
have the chat
It would
here.
be
Okay.
email the board.
Yeah, if
or-
you could email the board, and it's Board of Selectmen at,
No,
well,
it's BOS@wellfleet-ma.gov.
it goes either way. It does go there.
And then Kathleen Bacon has her hand up.
And you'll be able to find that. I'm sorry, we just really could not hear that. It was very garbled. Okay, and Kathleen?
Good evening, Board. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Madam Chair, thank you for recognizing me. First of all, I want to do a really big shout out to our housing coordinator, Ann Schiffenhaus. This is a position that we had been trying to fill for several years. And when you landed in August, you really hit the ground running. But I would like to remind anybody that's listening to this public hearing tonight and the Select Board that this is a state mandate. We were supposed to be compliant with this rental registration in July. We are now 6 months behind that. And while I do appreciate that the board is going to give this a really deep dive and will have, some solid material and data to look at in 2 weeks, we really are behind the 8 ball on this. I also want to say, as someone that's rented in Wellfleet for most all of my lifetime, it's about time some of these situations had inspections with the Board of Health, with the fire department, what I've been paying and what I live in, they really don't equate. And you'd be surprised at what people are putting up with right now to keep a roof over their head. And finally, there'll be some inspections going on these rentals. Again, thank you very much, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, so,
Motion to continue the public hearing to the 16th would be needed, I think.
yes, that's what's needed. Would someone like to make that?
So moved.
a second? All in favor?
I would like to discuss the fees because that's something that we as a board have not discussed yet. And I think if we go into the next, the next public hearing or day of public hearing and we don't really have a good feeling on where the board necessarily is, that it could be very counterproductive.
That makes sense, Ryan.
So I
Thank you.
really think we need to discuss the fees because they're one of the bits that we didn't discuss previously.
Fair enough, then I'll withdraw my motion.
Oh. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm sure the town administrator was mindful of our fairly long agenda tonight. I just wanted to make sure we get to those, but happy to talk about
Sure.
fees, but from my colleagues first.
Would you like to, who would like to start that?
I had more of just a structural question. It seems like a lot of towns have a singular fee. But
Yes.
the way that you proposed it, there was a registration fee and there was an inspection fee. Can you just speak to us as to why we're breaking those out?
It's different for each town.
Okay.
Some towns put it all lumped into one, some broke it out. Harwich, Mashpee, Dennis, they all break out an additional inspection fee. It's whatever way the board is comfortable with. You can lump it into one or you can separate it out. In terms of the different levels, there's a few towns that do by bedroom, majority just do a flat rate, probably because it's the easiest and most convenient. The reason I put that in was some of the comments I heard from some of the select board were like, well, wait a minute, like, they have a one-bedroom or a two-bedroom they rent, like what Ryan just said, and somebody else has a six-bedroom, so is that fair?
Right.
But it's really up to you. The simplest way would be a flat fee, no matter what. But I put in a structure that would accommodate different price points based on revenue generated by the short-term rental.
So my point that I would like to make on this is some of that decision-making on the fee is we're going to confirm that whatever we charge really has to go towards the fee. And it's not going to be not that many costs because there are a lot of costs, as Josh pointed out. There's hiring more people, training these people, there's benefits given to these people, and there's going to be a database, and then there's an administrative person you have to have in addition to probably at least part-time to help manage all of that. So there are going to be fees incurred, and but I do think that just to put it to rest for everyone, if anything is in excess of those costs, can it be absorbed into a general budget? Our legal counsel can confirm yay or nay on that. And that would sort of, help me in some of my thinking of how much to do. But I do agree, it will be an administrative, probably, it'll be more difficult to do it by bedroom and different fee structure. But if a person is making that much more money because they have a house that size, and we've all seen houses built just for this purpose, and they're making a lot of money on these houses, that, being charged the same as the person with the one bedroom, I don't think is quite fair.
So, Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
unless Barbara.
No, go ahead, Ron.
All right. So it makes a lot of sense to have the inspection fees broken out separately. I would imagine that other towns will probably start doing that with the new requirements under the building code because you have different intervals of time between inspections. And so when you have something like that and it becomes an issue if it's not applied basically for the service or proportionally. So, having a fee per inspection makes a lot of sense. I also want people to realize that, there's 700, 700 short-term rentals, and this is not necessarily including the number of units on a property. It's more the it varies, but, you know, some properties have more than one unit that's a short-term rental. The building code now requires that each individual unit have a certificate and be inspected. And so there's 700 that have to be inspected annually, and there's another 250 or 200 that have to be inspected less frequently. And so that is going to put a huge, we don't have the staff, frankly, to do this. This is, if you think about it, the town administrator's math is basically, you'd have to do basically 3 inspections per day throughout the year. But the registration window for all of this is kind of compressed. And it's not just because of when we're acting right now, it's because it will be compressed each year similarly. And, you know, this is, I don't want to get too far into the structure, but I think more than likely it's going to have to be contracted. But, you know, there's a lot of work that's going to go, you know, that's involved here. And I just want people to realize that these costs are not going to be insignificant. We don't necessarily know what they're going to be specifically at this time. So with that, you know, I going back towards the fees themselves, I do kind of want a structured tier system based off of the number of bedrooms. To me, that just makes more sense in general. In terms of the amount, I'm fine with the initial amounts that are kind of would serve as a base in Ann's. I know Josh has proposed a slightly higher threshold, but then I would also just want the, you know, additional steps above the 4 bedrooms plus. So there would be one for, you know, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms,
Right.
something like that. And the best way to accomplish that is Mr. Yeston's suggestion of just basing it on a base plus, you know, additional fee for each bedroom.
Barbara?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I still think there's a lot to be said for just a flat rate for administrative convenience and other efficiency. But if there's a consensus around flat fee plus per bedroom, I'll certainly sign on to that. I think the threshold should be 400 and then go up from there per bedroom. So that would be my proposal. Just want to point out, and then the inspection fees would be, I would say the inspection fees should be the same because really the inspections, most of it covers things that aren't the bedrooms. If you look at the list on the next page, you know, most of them, you know, you're 80% there in the inspection once you get through those items. So I think that should just be a flat fee as well. And then just to point out one more thing that adds cost to the town, that short-term rentals add is additional police, fire, public safety,
Right.
DPW, in particular transfer station. There are a lot of impacts from the town, not just the housing crisis, although that is certainly enough, but these costs do add up because of the additional services required from the folks who are our guests here in the short-term rentals. Thank you.
So I guess what we're doing is giving you a temperature of the board and.
Well, we should just have a discussion.
Exactly. If I may finish my statement, thank you. So I think that when we come back to discuss this again, you know, I think Ryan and I are in agreement about the tiering of things. And if there's a flat fee and then we add on for each room, that's fine too. But maybe we can look into those costs that will be, is there a differentiated cost between inspecting a smaller dwelling as opposed to one with more? And I also think, and I'm going to just this isn't part of our mandate here, is to take into consideration, but I do think that by getting this information, we do get an idea of the flow that happens in the summer, which I'm going to Jude's remark. I think that's actually a good benefit that we'll get out of this, because then we will have definite numbers of how many people are here in the summer, what is being used of our resources, and, the lifespan of those resources in light of that use. So,
Can we just try to focus the discussion?
well,
on-
we're not going to be voting on
We're not,
price
but
here, but we are getting a temperature of the board, and I sort of,
Except the temperature of the board's been varied,
yes.
I would say.
And I think that,
And it would be helpful for the staff if there's some form of consensus or agreement amongst the board. I think generally it seems that we're in agreement over the basically a graduated scale. But the other elements, the initial base price, except for Barbara with the flat fee all around, the initial base fee has varied by person. If we can just try to come up with some sort of agreement on that amongst the board as what we'll be proposing kind of to the public as basically the board's proposal, that would be helpful. And then at least when it comes towards the inspection fee based on property, the bedrooms are a good proxy for the size of a house. They're not necessarily one for one, but a larger house just takes longer to inspect. It's not uncommon for them to have multiple breaker boxes. It just takes more time to inspect a larger house than it does for a smaller one. So I would also want continue with the graduated scale that Ann's proposed here. But I think for the board, I think initially we should try to find what we want the base or what we might propose as a board as the base fee.
Madam Chair?
yes.
I'll propose again $400 as the base fee.
And then additional,
Yeah, again, I still think a flat fee is preferable, but if we can reach a consensus on a $400 base, then I'd be agreeable to additional costs for a bedroom after that.
Josh?
I built a spreadsheet, so I'm just plugging that in.
A spreadsheet.
I'm open to it. I think that, if let's say we did 400 base, $75 additional bedroom plus inspection fee to be determined, I think I could see that working. Two things to just to understand, and this is where I'm going to think about this a lot in terms of fee structure, but these numbers being thrown around are assuming 100% compliance and 100% collection. We are not going to collect 100% of these fees the first year. It's just not going to happen.
I wanted to, go ahead. I'm going to add
So-
on to what you're saying.
So,
Yep.
just want to make sure that's very clear with everyone.
Right.
Two, of the homes where there's, of the 200 properties that are owned by residents of this town, that doesn't mean they're all primary residences. So the likely number of properties that are going to have, there are residents of this town that own second homes that they use as investment properties and as rental properties. So the number of homes that are going to have to be inspected on a yearly basis is likely much higher than 755. Then you consider the properties with more than one dwelling on it. Some of those are commercial and residential. Some of those are all residential. We're probably looking at 800 homes a year, not 755. So I just want to throw it out there. Going back to number of fees, I'm happy with 400 as a base. I think 75 a bedroom could be a number, but I need more time to think.
Yeah.
So I just want to add on to what Josh was alluding to there, that, we're not going to get this right the first year. And somehow I tend to agree with that, knowing how everything goes here. But of course, we're going to give it that school try, but this is going to be our first run at this. And I think you know, we're going to learn a lot from this, just, you know, how we're going to go through this first year, and things can be subject to change. And if we look at what worked and what didn't work and what we missed and what we over-calculated, that's to come. So there's a lot of unknown here, and I think if we can kind of go in with a, I mean, I don't have a problem with this 400 plus, and I stick with the plus only because I think it's a matter of fairness, because if one as opposed to others, there's different income that gets brought in from those types of rentals as well. So, unless you have something else really
Yes,
definite,
I
go right
haven't said
ahead.
what I would want for a base fee or scale. So I would actually want a little lower of a start and more aggressive build in terms of the number of bedrooms, rather than, you know, let's say we start at 300 and then do, you know, basically 150 per bedroom. That actually would net more. And at the same time, you know, yeah, it would net more that way. And you know, yeah.
Tom? I'm sorry. Tom,
I'll
had his
defer
hand
to
up.
Select Board Member Carboni, and I'll go after you. I'll defer. Yes?
So through the chair, I was just going to ask Ann, of the towns that do have fee structures that have a base and added bedrooms, is there anything comparable to what Ryan was just suggesting, so 300 or something like that, and then 150 per bedroom?
No one is
No.
that high on per bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's, I should tend to think
It's
that's high.
anywhere from, 50 to 75,
Okay.
an additional bedroom.
Mhm.
And the flat fee ranges, I'd say, anywhere from 250 up.
Okay,
To start
yeah,
with
no, I
that.
mean, not dispositive, just, I was just interested. I'm certainly considering what all my colleagues are suggesting.
All right. Tom?
Yeah, I just want to chat a little bit about fee generation and use of that fee. In what I've come up with roughly on the back of a matchbook here. The gentleman's correct. We have to back into the fee based on what it's going to cost. But there's a lot more costs than what people think. Okay, so right now, Ann is being covered by the Community Preservation Act funding. Now, when that comes off, Ann wouldn't be 100% on this fee, but she would have oversight of either the contractor or the person that we hire. So it'd be 20 to 20, about 20% is what we'd figure of time for oversight. There's my time, there's John's time, and that's not going to be a lot. That's going to be like 2% and 3%. There's not a lot of money involved there at all. Then there's the benefits if we hire a person. So we got to figure about a 37% benefit rate. And I'm figuring we're going to be hiring anywhere between 85 and 110,000, because that's about what we get people here at. And we're in negotiations, so there's, lots of stuff going on. We're going to need software. We can charge off for office space as well if we need to. There's ancillary benefits that we pay. There are other, all on the rough book, I've come up with about $288,000 before I do any deep digging.
Right. And this is just another addition to the daily work of you, mainly, of you and staff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is what the state does, so it's not, if everything else was fine in the town, we didn't have to worry about other things, this would be, an interesting task, but it is just another bunch of time to put into this until it gets, for another couple of years. Anyway.
And the only other thing I would recommend that if we do this, when we go into the budget and we make the budget for this, we make this a revolving fund, so we can put a cap on what can be spent, and we can see that first year what's coming in. Then it can become a line item if it's a contractual thing or a human resource thing. It can get into the budget that way as well. But then we can either go to a funds received not requiring further appropriation, which I do not recommend, and/or just a straight budget line item, or we can continue it in a revolving fund with a cap.
Right,
But in that first year, if you get the cap, you'll know what it's costing you.
exactly.
It may take 18 months because you're gonna have follow-up inspections for people not there and stuff. But within 18 to 24 months, you'll know an exact cost of what this is gonna be.
So, Madam Chair?
Yes.
And what was the approximate breakdown between the different sizes of the houses again?
I don't have it with me.
Okay.
I know I emailed it to all
You
of
have
you.
it?
If you
Yes,
have
you
your
do.
email.
All right. Because basically, at my proposal, for the three-bedroom, which is the most common, it would be $600. For 400 plus 75 per, it would be $550. So, that's kind of why I was making the proposal that way, is, that it's the most common size house. And, yeah, and, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, through the chair, I mean, I could sign on to that. I think that's worth discussing further. Maybe not now, but.
Not now, but no,
Later,
and,
yes.
there's a lot of things may come up and make you change your mind. So, but at least we have an idea of what, hopefully it won't be belabored. We're kind of getting through the worst of it right now, so, of a conversation when we do go to vote. Are there any questions you have of us? Okay,
Just
Yes?
one question through the chair to Tom. If we think of any additional questions or for Ann, can we email you? Just so-
Email Ian and CC me, that way Ian's sure to get them.
Okay,
Right.
because I have a feeling I'm going to think of other things.
Right.
That's
I
okay.
know.
That's fine.
I know.
Before Ann leaves, can you, I know it's probably on the select board's agenda at this point for the materials for the draft regulations, but, the hearing we'd be having, is it to adopt the fees? Because if it has to do with the regulations, we'll probably have to have a
I'm gonna
different.
have it for, I'm gonna post it for both.
Okay, would that have to have a separate advertisement?
No, because we spoke to town council
Okay.
today, and because it was a broad enough, it could be included.
Okay.
I can re-advertise, because doesn't have to be 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
If I get it in tomorrow, I can advertise it by Thursday.
So I think the larger net we can throw, the better. I'd also want it, to be on the town's homepage, so people have an easy way to find it and access it. I do think that more than likely, I mean, the actual verbiage of the regulations might take a little bit of time and of discussion and back and forth. But we could probably adopt a fee sooner than that if we have a, broad agreement amongst the board as to the structure and the rate. But we definitely need to make sure it's publicly available, so that people, have an opportunity to look at it and provide substantive comments, because it will be completely new to Wellfleet. And, yeah, just that.
Okay. All right, moving on, do I have a motion to close this?
No, don't close.
Continue.
So,
Oh,
Madam
I'm sorry,
Chair-
to continue this public hearing.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to continue this hearing to December 16th
Yes.
16th.
At 6 PM.
at 6 PM.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Barbara, aye.
Ryan, aye.
Josh, aye.
Sheila, aye. All right, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yeah,
Madam
he's
Chair?
around.
No, we've continued.
Okay, so is John back?
Ms.
You can tell
Madam Chair,
John
can we
he
take a 2-minute recess while we get reset up for these
We
other
are going
public
to
hearings
take, we
coming in?
will reconvene at 7:15.
Okay.
Mike there.
Eins, zwei, drei, vier.
Okay, there we go.
Time to drink another beer. Okay, resuming the Tuesday night Select Board meeting. We are now, I now open the public hearing on shell fishing. And to start with, we will consider the move to approve the temporary closure of a quarter acre in Duck Creek as an oyster spawning sanctuary and to authorize the Shellfish Department to reopen the area at its informed discretion, but in no event longer than the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries requirement for reopening in 3 years. Nancy?
So this is an idea that came up from Michael Parlante, and he spoke at length with Johnny Clam and me, just trying to think about ways to bring back Duck Creek a little bit. It's been a little bit more sparse. It's a hard area because it stays out of the water for a long time anyway, but it just seemed like a worthwhile proposition. It's a very small area, and we've been walking around and talking to people on the flats. Nobody has mentioned an issue at all, and we're going to move. We've already done 1 day of seed collecting from the top of Egg Island. So we have, I think it's about 10 bushels of seed to move over there from Egg Island. Egg Island is another place that the top of it is out of the water a lot, the area closest to Powers Landing, and then it's very dynamic. The wave action there is very dynamic. So oftentimes it will get buried or it just doesn't survive. So it's kind of taking some seed from an area where it could most probably die and then putting it in an area where it could probably spawn and help the wild populations there. So the Shellfish Advisory is sent you guys the recommendation for it, and I asked people and included it in our criers. You know, if you have something to say, please come here and express it. We put the polls out before Thanksgiving, so people were able to see very clearly this diamond-shaped quarter-acre closure. So I think that we should just try it out, and if it looks like it's not working, we'll just take it away, or if it is successful, we can make recommendations about moving forward. But we will definitely open it before the DMF requirement.
Through the chair?
Yes.
I just out of ignorance, I'm asking this question. That's about 11,000 square feet, according to that your quarter acre is about 11,000 square feet. Is that big enough? Is that a big enough area to do a good test? And I know
It's located in the middle of a bunch of like hummocks, like salt marsh hummocks.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, the first thing is that it's good oyster bottom, and there's food there, and so I think you have to start somewhere.
Yep.
And we haven't done this in my tenure, so we really wanted to try it, and I think it's best to start small.
Yeah, I just was wondering. I didn't know if it was how small is too small. That's all. It was okay.
I think, we basically, Michael had it in his head, the area that he thought would work, and then we went out and put it, and put the poles in exactly where, and then it came out to this quarter acre. So I just think with his input and Johnny's guidance, I trust the two of them.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sheila?
No, I just want to say, I think this is a good experiment. I mean, it's, you're going to learn something. The Department of Marine Fisheries will learn something, and it may be something really good. You could start rebuilding this reef, this shellfish production, but also, by leaving it for a while, if this is the whole thing, I remember like oysters to clean your water. Yes, if you put out 1 million of them and you all leave for 100 years, they're going to clean the water. And, but this, if we can leave something alone for a while, there's a lot of benefits from that. And I think this is a great idea, and I hope you have a lot of success. I agree with Tom, is it going to be big enough? But they can monitor that. If there's success, you can.
Try it
And
somewhere else.
What we
Yeah,
learn from
And
this
if
can
people see that there's
inform other.
future production there for them, just be patient a little bit, we can broaden this, I think that's a good thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any more comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do we have any comments or questions from anybody in the room? Seeing none, let me see if there's any hands raised.
There are none.
I see none. In that case, I'll move to close the public hearing.
Vote?
So
Oh.
moved?
No,
Oh, no,
Or-
well,
or
no,
you-
to take a vote.
Yeah.
yeah, and then we're going to take a vote
Any further
after we-
board discussion and then a vote.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barbara, aye.
Ryan, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Okay, the hearing is now closed. Are we ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the temporary closure of .25 acre in Duck Creek as an oyster spawning sanctuary, and to authorize the Shellfish Department to reopen the area at its informed discretion, but in the event no longer than the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries requirement of reopening in 3 years.
Roll call vote.
Second.
Second. Roll call vote.
Me? All right, I thought we were going back to you. Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay, but
Yeah.
don't leave.
I'll now declare open the public hearing to approve the application received November 14th, 2025 for the transfer of shellfish grant license number 01-03-B from David Seitler and Christopher Maluski to David Seitler.
Yeah, so Chris is here, and he is has been named in the meanwhile to James Gray's grant in Old Wharf Point. So he just thought he would take his name off of this one, because he's busy enough.
Okay, so this is a matter of paperwork in a sense, and administration, okay.
All right, is there any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments in the room? Seeing none online, I will take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Public hearing is now closed, and I'll take a motion unless there's further discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the application received on November 14th, 2025 for the transfer of shellfish grant license number 01-03-B consisting of 3 acres in the in the deep water area of Indian Neck from David Seitler, Wellfleet, Mass., and Christopher Maluski, Wellfleet, Mass. to David Seitler.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes
Sorry
5-0.
about your name, and
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You're a free man.
Yes.
Thanks for
You can
waiting.
Go home now. You too.
Thanks for your patience.
And moving on, I now open the public hearing to approve the application received November 16th, 2025 for the transfer of shellfish grant license numbers 2000-3 and 2000-3 extended from Robert Olson and Daniel Ho to Daniel Ho.
So this is another situation where one grant holder is just coming off. I think they're both online. I think they are.
Yeah, Daniel Ho is, and
And everybody's in agreement, nobody's under duress having these things, these changes made, correct?
Mr. Ho is online
Okay, great.
if he's needed.
It's up to you guys.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, it's very simple.
Just a quick statement. So, this is a longtime shell fisherman that is, in the process of retiring, correct, Nancy?
Could be. He
Yeah.
still has 4 other grants.
Yeah. but he's.
Downsizing.
Yeah, he's been downsizing, and, you know, we are extraordinarily lucky to have shell fishermen like him that really brought basically shellfishing aquaculture back to Wellfleet over the years. And, you know, I'm both glad that he's taking on less, but it's also, you know, changing of the guard and a little bittersweet at the same time. And I just want to recognize
Okay.
that we all owe a, you know, enormous gratitude to all of these shellfishermen who were basically some of the first to bring back aquaculture in Wellfleet.
Okay.
Very true.
So noted.
So is there anybody who wants to speak? If not, we can just, sorry, I took over. Is,
Got in the habit,
I
huh?
don't know if Mr. whoever is on there, is on.
Mr. Ho, did you have anything you wanted to add to us?
I don't see him. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
second.
Roll call vote?
Ryan, aye?
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. And the public hearings are now closed. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the application received on November 16th, 2025 for the transfer of shellfish grant license number 2000-3 and 2000-3 extension consisting of approximately 1 acre and 0.6 acres respectively on Egg Island from Robert Olson of Wellfleet, Mass. and Daniel Ho of Wellfleet, Mass. to Daniel Ho of Wellfleet.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0. And on to opening the public hearing for the approval of the transfer of shellfish grant license number 99-1.
It should be, excuse me, 91-1 extension, which it
Yes, it
says in the
does say.
motion, but I see I missed it on the desired action.
It's one extension.
It doesn't have that on mine.
I know, that's okay. If you read right here, it goes to the next sentence and says extension. Anyway,
Oh, I see.
okay.
I see. Okay. So the hearing is now open. Nancy?
Angie is working and Chris is on the water, last I knew, because there was no wind, so he went fishing today. So they can't be here, but I said I would advocate for them. This is a mom putting her son on. He's already on 99-1. She got a small extension, so it only makes sense that he be on both of the grants. They farm it as one farm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing none, I will then take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Hearing is now closed. I'll take a motion on the,
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the transfer of shellfish grant license number 99-1 extension consisting of approximately 0.3 acres on Mayo Beach from Angela Oswowski to Angela Oswowski and Christopher Picard.
Second.
roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the last one of these, which is
Would you, go ahead, sorry.
to approve shellfish grant license number 01-04-B, initial license term, consisting of 3 acres in the deepwater area of Indian Neck for 1 year and 4 months, beginning December 31st, 2025, and ending April 30th, 2027, for Andrew Young of Wellfleet, Mass., contingent on Conservation Commission orders of condition and Army Corps of Engineers permit being received by December 31st, 2025.
Okay. So I believe that Andy is online, and there was something else I was going to say.
Yes.
Would you like me to share my screen so that I can share the maps that were sent late today?
Sure. Probably be a
And
good idea.
Nancy, can you just introduce, why this grant is basically being moved? Just
Yeah.
because there's some board members that were not necessarily, it takes a really long time is what it comes down to.
So back in 2022, I believe, back in 2019, the town purchased the intertidal flats off of Indian Neck. It was called
that-
How Do You Like Them Apples?
Yeah.
And so the town purchased those flats, and then what we did is we proposed to move some deep water grants that were outside of that boundary and in very deep water. And they were separated by a corridor, which made it really hard for any vessels that wanted to actually do dragging out there. They'd have to fish in a corridor, and they don't fish in straight lines, they fish in circles. So, and then, your phone would ring, oh, he's near my grant. So we decided we would move them in, or we proposed to move them within the boundary of the lands that the town purchased. We hoped that even though they were going to be still very deep water grants, but a little bit less so, and certainly then leaving the open bottom open for the draggers. So we did this with 5 different grants out there. 2 of those grants were then subdivided, were returned to the town and subdivided into 4 1.5-acre grants. We did those earlier this year, the new license terms. So Andy has just about crossed the finish line, and just to get him so that next year he is ready to go, I just thought it would be helpful to get him a license, and he can move forward from there. If anything happens and he doesn't, then I'll just bring it back to you. But we have another big year of grant renewals. We've already looked through, so this year was a big year as well. So I just didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle of all those renewals that happen in the winter and April. So I just thought to bring it now, and the Conservation Commission has their meeting tomorrow. Sarah will be attending that, and they've never given us a problem at all, so I don't foresee any troubles there. And I've worked closely with the woman from Army Corps, as have they, as has Andy, so I really don't foresee any problems. But if there's anything, I'm not going to let somebody use the farm without the proper certifications and permits.
Okay.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
No.
I can just here, if you look, this is where they, this is where the old grant was, and then it moved inshore. It's kind of hard to see when it's not on Google Earth, but, and then this is the actual professional survey that he's already had done.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Okay.
Just
Thank
wanted to
you.
make sure the public had access to that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from, first of all, does Mr. Young have anything he'd like to ask or say? I see I think he's unmuted.
I believe I'm unmuted. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone in the public have any questions or comments? I don't see anybody online or in the room, so in that case, I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll take a motion on the issue.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the initial term for Shellfish Grant License Number 01-4-B, consisting of 3 acres in the deep water area of Indian Neck for 1 year and 4 months, beginning December 31st, 2025, and ending April 30th, 2027, for Andrew Young of Wellfleet, contingent on the Conservation Commission orders of condition and the Army Corps of Engineers permit being received by December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. That passes 5-0, and best of luck to you, Mr. Young.
Yes,
All
good
right.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you for getting all that together.
Moving on to board and committee appointments and updates. Item B, Catherine Letourneau to be appointed.
Item A first.
Oh,
Elaine Baskin.
Elaine?
what happened? Oh,
Here, can you do that?
okay. I'm sorry. Something turned up missing here. Let's see if it actually is missing.
Number,
Yeah, I guess it somehow slipped out. Okay, so item A, Elaine Baskin, to appoint Elaine Baskin as a voting member to the
open space.
Open Space Committee for a term of 3 years expiring June 30th, 2028 to be, well, we'll save that for after the motion.
Yeah. We should also interview her for the Commission on Disabilities.
She's here.
Okay. She had applied for both. It's on the application. There's another applicant for the Commission on Disabilities as well. But, you know, just because there's one applicant and one additional applicant, we should give each the same due courtesy.
Yes,
All
so
right.
if Elaine is,
I don't see her online.
she's not?
No.
Do you have any background on this, Rebecca?
No, nothing other than the letter. that
Other
was
than the
submitted.
letters, okay.
But through the chair,
Yeah.
I remember there was an email about this,
Yeah.
but I don't remember.
I did reach out to her and let her know that the Commission on Disabilities had one position open, and she said she'd be fine with either. I did email her on 11/25 and this morning to remind them that they were on the meeting. So she didn't have any issues with just being appointed to the open space.
Okay. No, I know Elaine.
She just wanted to be part of a board or committee.
So,
All right, so should we proceed with just?
yeah, I would move to approve the appointment of Elaine Baskin as a voting member to the Open Space Committee for a term of 3 years expiring June 30th, 2028, and she needs to be sworn in by the town clerk before voting on an upcoming meeting.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? A roll call vote?
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Congratulations, Elaine, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And thank you for stepping up. Now, I was getting ahead of myself, but now we're up to Ms. Letourneau to be appointed as a voting member to the Commission on Disabilities for a term of 3 years. Is she with us?
Ms. Letourneau is
Oh,
here.
Great.
Oh,
Come on up.
hi. What, I knew I... How are you? So, tell us.
Well, I won't, you have my background, and
Yeah.
I'll just answer two questions that people have asked me. One, why? And two, why now?
Okay.
So the why is, I've spent the majority of my career working with students with a wide range of disabilities. I've been the 504 coordinator for 2 different school systems. I've written some manuals, trained staff. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I would have applied years ago when there were vacancies, or even sooner than now. But I had parents who were elderly. Luckily, they lived to be in their 90s. But I was really having to go back and forth off Cape so often to take care of them, to doctor's appointments and things of that sort. And I've always been the kind of person that says, if you're going to volunteer for something and you're going to commit, you need to be responsible. You can't leave and walk away and leave the work to other people. So now I can be very responsible and I can commit, and I really love to help serve on the board and give to the community.
Certainly seems like a really good fit to me.
Yeah, it does indeed. It looks like a good answer to the why, as far as I'm concerned. So,
Is
Yeah,
it-
through the chair, just, as someone whose kid was on a 504, I appreciate your
yeah.
expertise, so
It's a
thank you.
hard job.
Yep, it is, and I think it's a great fit, and it's a great commission. It's a great group of people, I'm sure you'll.
Yes, I've had, John, do you, I've had some conversations with different members of the commission, and they're supportive of my volunteering, so,
Good. No, I think it
Great.
would be a fine addition.
great, thank you.
So, with that,
Anybody
Mr.
else?
Chair, I move to appoint Catherine Letourneau as a voting member to the Commission on Disabilities for a term of 3 years to expire June 30th, 2028, and you will need to go to Town Hall and be sworn in by the town clerk before you do any votes.
Do.
Okay.
Second.
A roll call vote?
Give that to you, Barbara.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Welcome and thank
for
you.
volunteering.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope it's great. Thank you.
All right. Now moving on to use of town property. Haley Wilcox and Matt Rivers. Thank you for your patience.
Finally, yes, thank you. Hopefully, it's been
I hope this has been entertaining
wildly
for you.
interesting, yes.
I'm going to mark that down.
That's great, because I won't.
Okay.
Come to the table.
Yeah, come on up to the,
Thank you so much for hanging in there.
Yeah. Hi. All right, so let's do it, right?
so, this seems pretty straightforward to me.
You're going to have a surf competition.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Is this your, we've had surf competitions before, correct?
Yes,
Are
you
you-
have like old timers
Yeah.
Are you the new person sponsoring this?
Well, we also help run old timers as well.
Oh, okay.
So we're
In August, and we want to, so this would be separate from old timers, but another surf contest in the spring. Ideally, it would be the first time for this particular contest. It would be open to like suggestion, or if like you had questions or concerns or ideas of like specific location. Ideally, we'd like to hold it the weekend after Memorial Day, because that's usually like a dip in like, people on the Cape. Ideally, we want it to be like, not just for locals, but like a locals cold water surf competition, where men and women are surfing and competing together, like within the same heats. There'd be 2 separate divisions, 18 and below, and 19 and up. Ideally, just to kind of bring a little bit of life to that, the weekend after Memorial Day.
In what location?
Well, ideally, it's a surf contest, so the beaches are like, subject to change from
Right.
like one storm to the next. It's all sand bottom. So right now, there's a really good sandbar at LeCount Hollow. There's also a good one at Whitecrest Beach, but those can always like change and
The
shift.
shifting sands.
Yeah. So ideally, we'd like to have a little bit of leeway there. I don't know if that's possible or not, but, one of the beaches on, the ocean
So
side.
to be determined depending on
How the sandbars shape up.
How the winter
Yeah.
shakes out.
We're really hoping to have waves.
That would help a lot.
That may make
No
it
matter
for a
what beach
successful
you're at.
event.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
That would help.
if I may.
Necessary feature.
First and foremost, I love this idea. Thank you for bringing it before the board.
Yeah, thank you.
A couple questions, some brass tacks questions. I think you partially answered one of them, but do you have experience running surf competitions in the past or any kind of like large gatherings?
So the Old Timer Surf Contest was originally founded by Mike Houghton of Jasper Surf Shop in Eastham. When he closed his doors, he had approached myself and my wife at the time to help carry on that tradition of like helping with signups and promotions and just like helping carry on the tradition of the shop because her and I both grew up going to that contest with our parents. So we were honored to help carry that tradition on. So we've been doing that since the mid 2000s. Jamie's the president. I'm the vice president of Cape Cod Old Timers. This, like I said earlier, this contest would be separate from that. It's also going to be another fundraiser for the Surf Rider Foundation, which is a nonprofit that helps organize the water cleanliness and beach access to beaches around the continental U.S.
Speak up a little bit in the mic.
Advocating, are you saying you're advocating for public access to beaches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Couple more questions, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
One, just at one point in your application, you said there's a 2-day surf event, and then on the motion, it looks like it's 1 day. Are you planning on having a 1-day or 2-day event?
So it's like a 1-day event at the beach with the competition, but we're hoping to make a weekend out of it to support our local surf community artists and everybody who falls into our local surf community, because it consists of a lot of people who make art. Matt makes really awesome art, so we're hoping to have and maybe we're working with Surfrider right now to do a film night in January, so we're hoping to maybe do another film night during the weekend of the contest.
Awesome. Specifically, you're asking to use town property for 1 day?
For
Correct.
1 day.
Excellent.
Yes. Sorry that came off confusing.
No, the more information, the better. And then, do you plan on having at least one certified lifeguard at the event? It's before town lifeguards are on duty.
Well, there will be a lot of lifeguards there surfing. As far as, we have not organized that yet. I think some of it would, as far as the insurance goes, Surf Rider Foundation is going to let us use their, go under their umbrella for their event insurance. But as far as lifeguards go, I think some of that we would take some guidance on your part as far as what would be required or not required. We don't actually have specific lifeguards
I do
on
note,
duty for the old timers, even though it's there's probably 50 to 100 lifeguards on the beach for it.
I do note that this was signed off on by our public safety officials.
Reliving my glory days, I used to be a beach lifeguard in another town, and we would be called in for special details for events like this before the season started. Personally, I think it's important that someone is just watching the water, that's not necessarily in the event, just something to consider. But I do appreciate that most people that are going to be on the water surfing are also going to be lifeguards. And then just, last and final comment from my end, then I'll yield back to the board. We had a great event at the pier where we had a lot of food trucks. There was some conversation and concern around if each individual food truck was paying their own use of town property fee and needed to have their own application. So I'm just kind of looking to the board and town administration for guidance on where we landed on that. If all the food trucks are held under the same use of town property application, or if each one has to apply for their individual use.
So.
This was regarding Outer Cape Music Festival. This concern came up.
Right. So you're saying, how does that apply here?
Correct.
So that's a good question. So would you have food trucks at this event in the parking lot that day, or how do you see that happening? Or do you see events happening, or are you going to have that on a separate day? Like what you were talking about, having maybe...
I'm sorry, if I could answer the question
Yeah.
Josh asked. If the food trucks will have to get their own separate permit and be inspected by, so they'll have to come. So if you have 5 food vendors that you're planning, they're all going to have to come and get a license.
But through the chair, I think the question was, do they need their own use of town property? And I don't think that should be necessary. I remember that came up, but I don't see why they would need a use of town property. So
Yeah,
just the
for one,
inspections under-
it's one event, yeah.
Right.
But they'll have to have their own one-day food license permit and
Correct,
be
right.
inspected.
Yeah.
No, I was just, this, I honestly have no strong opinion one way or another. I was just, asking the board.
Right, somebody not on the board brought it up, but I think it's a non-issue.
No, it's,
I agree.
it's something to think about, but if it is a non-issue.
Yes, correct. But I appreciate Josh bringing it up
Right.
because it wasn't resolved last time.
Yeah,
So,
I just have a couple
okay.
Yeah.
questions, and then I'd be prepared to make a motion. Would you also want some flexibility on the exact date, considering conditions obviously vary?
I don't want to push our limits here, but
Well, that's
typically for
opening
old
up the door
timers,
or
we
something.
pick a specific date, but sometimes there's good waves, sometimes there's not very good waves. If we could have a 2-week window of like that weekend or the following weekend, I mean, that would be amazing, but I don't know.
We've done that before for some other applications that are weather dependent, where there's basically a, an opportunity to have it on an alternate date if, for whatever reason, there's a weather-related issue.
If we could request an alternate date of the following weekend, depending
You
on
just
like
have to check
weather.
with
and
the, Suzanne, because the beach is open June 1st.
Yes, that's what quite frankly, I think to open that door, I think it's a nice gesture, but it's not something we might be able to fulfill because we're now going into
So-
the season.
So, the thing in that case might be to have I think May 30th makes a lot of sense, but
Or
it-
potentially Saturday or Sunday, like
Yeah.
within
Yeah,
that
just like
weekend.
that
Yeah.
That I
weekend.
think you could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, the other question I would have is the location, because it specifies Lookout Hollow.
Yeah.
we can kind of, in our motion, we can, say that we authorize the use of one of the ocean beaches, subject to the approval of the community services director, and
I'm okay with that.
something like that, but so it's would be, I guess, May 30th and the 31st.
Yeah, I would say the weekend of May 30th.
Okay.
That way it's the weekend.
Yeah.
So 2 days. And also, if, to put into the motion, I think we should just say, and check in with us, like, closer to the time, because then you'll have more detail of what you're planning, number one. That way, everybody can hear that, and that's a good thing. But also just to, if you've zeroed in on, now you've, like, we're looking at the conditions, this is where we're gonna have it, rain or shine, waves or none, but this is what we're gonna work with.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
a little
to have a check back.
impractical.
Through the chair, I think if we do something like that, it should just be with the director,
Yeah.
with community services director, because she's closer to the action.
Yeah.
So,
That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to try to round this up into a
That's
motion.
why I said it would be subject to the,
Yeah.
Right.
so I'm ready to make a motion.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, Ryan, I forgot.
So-
Right ahead.
I move to approve the use of one of the oceanside beaches on the weekend of May 30th, 2026, from the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. To Haley Wilcox and Matt Rivers from Pump House Surf Shop for a local surf competition for a fee of $300. Make sure all food trucks, if there are any, are inspected by the fire chief, and all vehicles associated with the event remain in the parking lot, as any damage to vegetation or coastal dunes could result in fines from the conservation agent, subject to the approval of the community services director.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, I.
Good
5-0.
luck.
Congratulations.
Thank
It was
you.
worth the
Really
wait.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so exciting.
All right.
Thank you. I really like the idea.
Hopefully we'll see you all there.
Yes, it'd be fun.
Well,
Hopefully it's
maybe I'll
great
see you
weather
at
and
the
great
shop,
waves.
because I'm one of your lifestyle customers. Like, you have surfers and lifestyle. I'm the one who buys, like, the vans, you know?
Yeah, and the
We're
hats and
having
the,
a great sale right now.
there you go. Get those Christmas presents.
Okay, moving on to business item A, Select Board Member Josh Yaston and Finance Committee Chair Fran Conroy. Is,
He's on, Fran Conroy's online.
oh, is he? Okay.
And he is
Just let it go.
a
Just let it
analyst.
go. No,
Oh,
let it
I
go.
got you. To review, discuss, and take possible votes on draft Chapter 7 charter revisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You may remember back in August, I believe.
You need to get closer to your mic.
Excuse me. You may remember some months ago, the Finance Committee came before the Select Board with recommendations to an amending Chapter 7 of the Charter. After substantive conversation, it was resolved that the town administrator would create a working group composing of one member of the Select Board and one member of the Finance Committee to work together to refine those recommendations. Mr. Conroy and I have been meeting frequently, exchanging ideas, reviewing various charters of other towns, and also consulting with the town administrator. We wrote up a summary report of our findings, and then you'll find our recommendations in a redlined copy of Chapter 7. Substantively, this puts a finer point on the roles and responsibilities of each of the three main bodies that are responsible for putting together the budget, meaning Town Administration, the Select Board, and the Finance Committee. It makes the timelines far more achievable and realistic. We have found in past years that the timelines proposed, or not proposed, but prescribed rather, in the charter just were unrealistic and unachievable. And furthermore, you'll see that all of Section 7-3 is all in red. However, we believe due to error, it was removed in 2013. However, there is a standing Section 7-3, so we took it upon ourselves to refine it and expand upon it a little bit. However, the matter still hasn't been resolved, so for just to be sure, we gave it to you all in red. And if Mr. Conroy has anything else that he wants to add.
Fran?
Yeah, after Fran.
Mr. Yesson made a very, very good summary. One thing that he didn't discuss is sort of future steps. Assuming that the Select Board and the Finance Committee approve this language with or without amendment, the next step is, as the Select Board suggested back when we took it up several months ago, both bodies will draft policies regarding how they carry out their charter responsibilities. One item that was in the prior draft that is being moved to, or at least proposed to be moved to a one of those procedures is the use of liaison departments by the Finance Committee. So those more nitty-gritty details will be fleshed out in a series of policies that each body will adopt. That remains to be done. So Mr. Yessen's and my work is not yet completed.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I think the work that's been done for the most part has been good, and Josh has been keeping me informed. As I do have one issue that I take exception to in 7.5.1. The Finance Committee should not be the creator of the capital improvement plan inputs. That comes from both our software as well as my work with the departments on the best way to set up the format. This is not something that should be turfed to another committee, no matter how well-meaning. That's not part of the Finance Committee's charge under the statute.
I agree with that.
Just for people's clarity, that's currently what's in the charter. But yes, I have, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I have a real problem with that whole section, but I can live with it. It's not But that needs to be changed, in my opinion.
Yeah, through the chair, and I thank Josh and Fran for their work on this. There is a lot here, and I think this is a really good opportunity, for us to really, I would like us to spend a decent amount of time on this, and I don't know if that's something we're going to have time to do tonight. So it does say, a motion if one is decided. I would love for us to spend some more time, maybe some tonight, maybe some at a subsequent meeting, really understanding this. Not just understanding the changes, but understanding the whole sequence of things that is supposed to happen around budgeting. So I hope we can have some discussion tonight and then really have Josh and Fran maybe walk us through some of this in more detail. And then if there's going to be a vote on anything, put that off. That would be my preference.
Just to interject on the vote, no vote is necessary now. The only vote that is required is inserting this into the warrant for Springtown meeting. But we do need to understand, as both bodies are either in general agreement to the amendments or not, to understand how much more work Mr. Conroy and I have to do. Largely the order of operations, speaking to your comment there, mirror the budget process memo and goals that we outlined last month.
Okay.
So the timing was aligning with the board's discussion around the order of events. The real substantive change with regards to the order of operations from this draft versus what's currently in the charter is that the town, it always starts with the town administrator putting together the draft budget. Before that draft budget would then go to both the select board and the finance committee at the same time. In years previous, there have been strange occurrences where the select board then makes amendments during their process while the finance committee is reviewing and giving their opinion on the draft budget as created by the town administrator. This current language allows the select board 21 days to make amendments before the finance committee gives their judgment and opinion on the budget, which makes more sense because then we're passing along a single document, a single budget from group to group. And so you don't have this, weird bifurcation where there's two kind of dueling budgets, which has happened in years past. So we intentionally sequenced this out to avoid that happening.
That was the impression I had from reading it.
That's good.
So this specific provision is one I have comments on. It's not feasible to expect us to turn around a budget in 21 days. It's very common for it to take at least a month. We have individual department heads come in and walk us through their budgets and understanding the larger, scope and everything. It's very common that we only get through maybe 3 departments in a meeting. And so, typically it's, you go through, so it takes at least 2 meetings or 3 meetings just to get through each of the individual departments. And then after that, we would have to vote to adopt the draft budget, or amendments are made at that point in time as well. I think 21 days is just extremely restrictive in terms of the amount of time that will be necessary to review a budget, particularly one that, keeps, growing in complexity year after year. So I would want a larger time window, or one that isn't so prescribed in the charter, because it's really unfortunate when we do have things that are prescribed in the charter and we're unable to fulfill those requirements just based off of the stipulations around timing or things of that nature. This is one of the reasons why in the past the draft budget was due earlier in the cycle, so that you would have enough time to kind of work through it. Typically, we're given, a draft budget and then given a while to study it before we are expected to, make decisions on it.
if I could, what would you propose then? Is there a timeline that you would?
There needs to be at least a month, but even that's like really tight. So, you know, I know that, you know, in the past few years, we've been later on when we've been getting our budgets. I would say that it's not uncommon for them to be earlier in other communities than what we currently have, but at the same time, we need something that's achievable for the town administrator.
John, Barbara has her hand up.
Oh, Barbara?
Yeah, I was just going to, since the town administrator is the one who kind of shepherds this process, including getting the department heads organized, I just was going to ask through the chair, ask the town administrator to comment on the time period.
Okay. Tom?
Well, in other communities, I had 14 days. I'd submit the budget to the select board. They had 14 days to make changes thereon and then send it to the finance committee. Then there would be joint meetings with the finance committee and the select board, so the department heads only were meeting once and everybody was hearing the same information at the same time. I'm not opposed to additional time. The more time the board can have to review a document, that's fine. The issue that we have right now, and this will be for subsequent fiscal years, it wouldn't be for the upcoming year, because
It's not voted on.
we're beyond those timelines now. If
Right.
the budget's due January 15th-ish, and that's the schedule the departments and I have been working on. So if we get it to you, we'll get it to you certainly on or before the 15th. You go 30 days from there, you're into mid-February. Then it goes to the finance committee. You've only got about 3 or 4 weeks before you really got to start bundling up the warrant and getting it printed. Well, the printing is a little more flexible now because of the things that the moderator asked the town meeting to do. But I think that, personally, I think 21 days is sufficient. The board may need more, and, we'll work with the board. You can get, if you want to meet with the department heads separately, you could perhaps meet more frequently than every 2 weeks, have a couple of workshops. Maybe on a Saturday, we take a Saturday and meet with them all. There's a way. I understand what Ryan's saying. It is getting more complex, and we got sewer. That's going to take a lot of discussion this year. The water department's going to take a lot of discussion. The marina's going to take a lot of discussion. There's some pretty hefty stuff. But if we're diligent and things are timely, I would think 21 days would work, but I defer to the board on that.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I tend to agree with Tom. I think that part of the reason of even doing this exercise is to try to build in efficiencies as well, and that's focus. And to ask the board to focus for 3 weeks and maybe do extra meetings. I mean, I've gone through this before on other boards, that it's budget time, you increase your meetings, you're increasing your meetings with staff, because you've got to get that all in. And it would also make us really focus on what is the possible here and what is the issue, and not go into kind of, well, we'll put that off until the next meeting. I think it would force us to focus, and I think we can do it if we try. So I think 21 days is not unreasonable. That's a big, long way to say that, to come out with that.
And if I may, I did want to correct myself just briefly, because I did say that this matched the policy goals. We did shift the dates slightly, so what we had said in our policy goals was that we would receive the draft budget by December 29th. I believe in consultation with the town administrator, we felt that the 15th of January was more realistic.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, that's not realistic, but the rest, I think the board.
No, sure. So, and then, so what we did is that we discussed, working back from the time we're going to have to insert this into the warrant, how many days did we have, and we divided those equally as much as we could. I agree that, we should just be prepared that January and February, we're going to have a lot of meetings.
We usually do.
I do think it's achievable.
I agree.
But, I'm open to comments from the board.
Yeah.
I misspoke when I said it matched it verbatim. I forgot there was a shift in one of the drafts.
It's been extremely common during budget season for us to be meeting twice a week. And even with that, it's, oftentimes it's taking at least a month to get through it. I really think, there's, some of it has to do with the availability of department heads as well. So.
Sorry, through the chair, that's why I think if Tom is saying he can do it in 21 days, I think that puts the pressure on him to corral, if that's the right word, no offense to anyone.
Right.
To get the department heads up to speed.
Yes, I'm listening carefully to what Brian is saying, and just based on my experience, here, it does ring true.
It could be that the department heads need to start their process earlier.
We leave that to Tom, right?
Well,
But,
Based on what's in here, we would do that in the ensuing years.
Right,
So-
exactly.
Yep.
So I would, well, we're not voting on this tonight, so I think that this has been a good, and I'm going to go over this again carefully. I think it's, we can come back to it. Did I hear Fran?
I thought I saw.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, may I make a comment? I actually was very sympathetic to Mr. Curley's position because I thought a 21-day period for either entity was
Hopeful.
was difficult to achieve. And I actually envisioned a more of a parallel process. But when we looked at all of the other towns' charters, the process is much more clearly that the select board proposes a budget, and that is the budget that the finance committee opines on. But as a practical matter, it's going to require joint meetings between the two bodies, particularly with the department heads. And just in terms of practice, last year we did achieve that in 3 evenings. I think there were 3 subsequent weeks. I can't recall. I know in the past we've taken different approaches. One to spread it out over the 21 days that are is provided for it. I know other years, at least the finance committee met with the department heads, 3 subsequent days just to try to get it out of the way quickly. I don't have any strong feelings there, but I think meeting with the departments is doable in 3, certainly 4 meetings. The other thing that I want to point out is we did include a provision to permit amendments to the budget that the select board initially approves. The best example of a need for that is the schools come in with numbers that were outside of what was outside of expectations, or we get a late quote from an insurance provider that causes us to go back and reassess things. So there is flexibility for that happening, but that is expected to be sort of one-off items. But there is that flexibility in the draft language. Now, whether that's sufficient for everyone's comfort remains to be seen, but we did try to anticipate that and provide for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and until the budget's adopted by town meeting, it's a living document, and people, so, it's not uncommon for us to make amendments, even as necessary the day of town meeting.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, but I do think that it's going to be difficult to get through a budget in less than a month. But that's just my opinion, and I've stated it.
Okay.
I don't know, I would, you know, if other board members have thoughts that, yeah.
I myself am comfortable with what I've read here, with the exception of what Tom brought up, which wouldn't have occurred to me because he's got the expertise that I don't in that area. So that might be something for you guys to work on.
Could we just quickly raise the issue again so I understand it? Or Tom, I don't know if you want to state it, just so we can think.
Tom, do you want to restate that?
Well, I think the issue, as I understand it, is the amount of time the board has from when the town administrator turns the budget to the select board for their amendments and comment, and to when it gets handed to the finance committee.
Yeah, so it's from the receipt of the budget. So it's very common for us to receive a budget, you know, at least a week plus before we're expected to opine on it.
Right.
And so basically, if it's 21 days and we received it 7 days earlier, we actually only have 14 days to approve a budget and send it to the finance committee. If the town administrator sends it out even earlier than that, then you run into an even more time crunch, because, I mean, we've had budget books sometimes, you know, 2 to 3 weeks in advance of us actually discussing them. And so the language here is the receipt, which is, you know, as soon as we receive it, and then we're looking at a very tight window of time.
But, Mr. Chair, through you,
Yeah.
wouldn't we then just be able to be proactive in scheduling a meeting in the closest Tuesday to the 15th of January?
I mean,
I'm not sure I'm seeing.
A budget is hundreds of pages long, and each department has a description of their budget, that individual line items, there's, you know, descriptions for the town administrator. I mean, it takes a while to get through a budget, and you know, just, you know, I know from the past, the earlier that people have had the budget to start reviewing before, in advance of a meeting, the more productive those conversations have been, because you get less of the questions around, you know, what is this line item, or oh, I didn't notice that, you know, because you just haven't had sufficient time to review the budget. We might want to include language a lot, rather than saying receipt, to use a different term that allows, like, I don't know, but you don't want to allow forever. But you know, I don't know, like, there should be, like, you know, a certain amount of time to take it up, and then a certain amount of time for discussion and review. And I just think receipt really will box us in and really compress things to something that's not necessarily the best product.
So through the chair.
So,
Do you want to respond?
Yeah, just quickly. So if we look at section 7-3, that was erroneously removed. But what is still, I believe still to be law, it gives select board 30 days. You know, so we're cutting 9 days out, which is substantial. You know, I mean, that's 30% of 32% of the. So I appreciate the concern. But I do feel confident that we can plan for it. However, something that we may be able to consider, and this is where Mr. Conroy and I and the rest of the boards need to have a conversation, is it worth giving the select board 30 days and the finance committee fewer days? I'm just throwing out other scenarios.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I was just about to say the exact same thing that Mr. Yeston just said. Assuming that the board and the finance committee meet together to sort of streamline the process, the Finance Committee shouldn't require that much time to issue its report. So I think, if we're, looking at 42 days, if we can combine it to call it 30 and 14, I think, I think that would still be workable.
My concerns actually were with Tom's concerns with section 7-5-1,
Yeah, that's what I
totally
thought you-
unrelated to this.
Yep. And
Well, I think, I want to say, if it's okay with the board, I want to sit down with Josh and Fran and go through that with them.
Okay.
So they understand my point, and then we
Right.
can perhaps work it out from there.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
then can I raise what's probably a really uninformed question? Is it absolutely required that these dates be in the charter? Or is it possible to have some of these dates in a policy so that they can be adjusted more easily and not require the charter process? Maybe, I don't know, that's why I'm asking, or is it required that these dates be set in the charter?
Ryan, do you know?
There's not a specific requirement. It's typically common that they're in the charter. Another way of doing it would be potentially in a bylaw, because that's a little easier to change from year to year than a charter is. But it's typically in one of those areas because it's basically the will of the legislatures, which is, the town meeting, that kind of sets these requirements, so it'd be in one of those two places.
Yes, I mean, I know I've seen it more often in the charter, but it just seems like if it doesn't, something does not work, the effort required to change it just
I know,
seems
and
really
it usually
extraordinary.
isn't a
but-
charter, because it's the guidance of the charter that
Yep.
guidance
Okay.
things.
I'm not suggesting doing this any differently, I was just
No,
curious, so.
I agree, though, because it would be easier to change. Not only is it easier to put it in a bylaw, it's, you can go, you don't have to have a town meeting for bylaws.
No, you do have to have town meeting for
But-
For
bylaws.
that type of bylaw,
Right, but it's less complicated than the charter.
then a charter.
process, Right, okay, I was just curious.
It doesn't take a ballot vote thereafter.
It looks like Fran had his hand up.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to point out that when the changes to the charter regarding the days for publication of the warrant and its distribution, that was all moved to to be set by bylaw. And then there was a separate article that approved a bylaw. So that's how all of those changes were made. Presumably, the same thing could be done here.
I know, just because Fran and Josh have done so much work on this, I hate to sort of upend the cart here, but I don't know, just a thought, and
But I think it would be great for them to talk with Tom, come back, and then we can,
Yeah, I mean, the language would be very similar in a bylaw, so you can basically take certain sections out. It says, it's set by a bylaw in the charter, similar to the recent charter amendments, and then move that specific language into a proposed general bylaw. That would be one way. I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other on it. My primary concern still is just the receipt and the time necessary.
right, but.
Would we, excuse me.
Yeah, but through the chair, that's actually what got me thinking about this, is I share your concerns, and my thinking was, okay, if we do go to that timeline and it's found that it really is not working, if it's a regulation, it's easier to change than the charter, so we can have more flexibility. So, thank you, Josh.
I have a question for Tom. Given, time being a big concern here, is there a mechanism for our department heads to start coming up with figures a little earlier in the process, or is there a set time they begin that?
No, we can start the next, we're done. I mean, most of the numbers are in right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying for in the future.
Yeah, I think next year, instead of having them in by, October 15th, we get them in the middle of September, and we
Yeah,
just back it up a month.
That's really common in a lot of areas is,
Because then we could still keep that deadline.
I have one person that said, the second town meeting adopts a budget, you start working on your next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And because the other wild card, as we've learned to our sorrow in the past, is the delays that sometimes occur with the schools getting their budget in.
Well, in the proposed school regional assessment, there are some different times being recommended to the regional committee. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but.
I think we've made a good start on this.
Yeah, I think so.
I have one other comment, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, sure.
So this is in 7-5-1. It's one of the new language that was added. It says by the town and regional entities. I don't know if that's necessarily practical. It's dependent on what regional entities that might be. If it's a school system, it should be specified. Otherwise, it can be very broad because, but if it's a school, we should just say, and the Nauset Regional High School, but we don't necessarily control that process, and it's I don't know if it's, I mean, the town administrator can try to get that for us, but that's not something that he necessarily has control over, and it might put undue burden on or expectation on the town administrator to provide those. Obviously, if things are going well, the school system can provide them relatively in a timely fashion. But yeah, we have no control over that, and we can't make it consistent with dates held within this provision.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chair, I'd like, if there's nothing else to be said on this, I'd like to move on.
yeah, I
We
think
can
that
go into our
at
next
this point, we
agenda item.
probably should,
Unless
because,
I don't want to overstep anybody.
but I think,
Yes, with thanks again to Fran and Josh.
Josh, you and Fran, and Tom,
No, this was
know what
productive.
you've got
Yeah.
ahead of us.
Yeah, this was great input, so thank you.
Great, thank you, Fran.
All right, thanks. I want to thank both of you for
Yes,
the
for
work
doing,
you
it's a
put
lot of
into
work,
this.
so thank you.
This is
And putting a lot
impressive.
of thought into it.
Coming from, from somebody from budget is not my,
Your favorite thing.
well, not the thing I'm most knowledgeable about, so I really appreciate what you guys have done. So moving on to the next order of business, to accept the Housing Works grant in the amount of $500,000.
Mr. Chairman, this grant has been a long time in the works. This project's been a long time in the works, I think going on some 15 or 16 years now since the original inception. The amount of money, the $500,000, is for the infrastructure, the pipes and the septics and all that type of.
Primarily driveway.
Yeah, well, driveway too.
It's $1 million driveway.
It's a nice driveway. Yeah, so it's construction of infrastructure versus the actual construction of the units. We were on a meeting today that was required by DHCD for grant recipients.
Gonna have a
They're
nice
setting up a whole
system.
new set of timelines, so. But, yeah, this is for the infrastructure work up there.
Yeah, there was also a requirement by the fire department to install a tank.
Yeah.
To provide pressure, or to provide pressure for a sprinkler system.
Yeah.
And that was added late in the process and obviously added additional expense.
And through the chair, can I ask who prepared the successful application?
Myself and Elaine.
Thank you both.
Thank both of you, yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Select Board accepts the Housing Works Infrastructure Program grant for Payne Hollow Road Rental Housing Improvement Project in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0.
Yes, it's all good news now. This is the good news
Are we
section.
going to have something we need to sign as a result?
Next one's not so much.
Hey, well,
I signed the
this one's not so bad.
Okay.
Well, you'll find out why.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next item, Business C, to accept the Community Development Block Grant of $1,250,000.
Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
I wasn't even sure I needed to bring this to the board since the lead applicant community is Brewster. This is a housing rehabilitation grant with the 4 towns. We need to do a better job of marketing Wellfleet residents for this program. I've found Brewster's been very good at marketing this program. With Ann on now, I think we're going to be able to do a little bit more with that. I didn't know if this needed to come or not, but in abundance of caution, if you will, I figured I better bring it forward. You may or may not need to vote it, but I wanted to bring it.
So could you tell a little bit more about what it is, Tom?
Yeah,
This is-
basically, it's for low and moderate income household, elderly and disabled. And if they need primarily code work done in homes, I've done probably 1,000 units. It can be roofing, windows, bad plumbing, rotted floor
Accessory.
joists.
Not access, okay.
Well, if they're
Wheelchair,
going into a wheelchair and they only have a 36-inch door, they need to put in a 42-inch door or a 40-inch door.
Right, they could do
Those
that.
types of things are
Okay.
covered. Heating systems, if they're bad, fire prevention stuff.
Low-income
Yeah.
housing improvement grant.
And if you have a unit place, like row houses, you can do common areas like roofs, which you weren't able to do before 1984, but now you can.
I was a recipient of this grant about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Who crafted this?
This has been ongoing for years, so
Yeah.
this is just.
So just for somebody who just moved in, say, listening, how would they go about looking?
They would
on-
see Ian
Okay.
to start, and that would probably move you to Brewster for the applications. I'm not,
Okay, what the
Yeah.
thing is, okay.
but I didn't want it not to come before the board
I
if it
think
needed
that's
to.
good.
Yeah,
So do you want a motion?
Yes.
Or
Well,
Brian, did you have something?
yeah, so in the past, either I think they've presented to us for to have Wellfleet participate or approve Wellfleet's participation, but I think it's fine here. But I also just want to note that this program has been defunded going forward because it was funded through federal. So they've basically eliminated the community block grants, and this will be the last year.
All right, well, thank you,
As I
federal
said.
government. Well, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
surprising, so hopefully we'll get through these years pretty quickly. Okay. Barbara?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Select Board accept the Community Development Fund grant in the amount up to $1,250,000.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0. And moving on to item D, to accept the Community One-Stop Growth Grant for the Housing Choice Grant Program to support Maurice's Campground Redevelopment Master Plan Project in the amount of $150,000.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to attempt to explain this. I'm going to give that right to the author.
I was just going to say, Ryan, can you help
I
us with
was
this?
realizing tonight I should have provided the draft, the draft grant proposal, just because it spells it out fairly clearly. Basically, it's $150,000 that the hope is at the end of the day that, we have monies that have been approved by town meeting for the effort, and if we have funds remaining once this process is finished, that we would be able to return those funds to the town. This kind of has happened with some of the other applications that the town has successfully done in the past for, I mean, a good example was the initial amount for Lawrence Hill for the wastewater work there. You know, a large amount of that ended up being funded through MassWorks. So for this, the maximum award is $150,000 for the effort, and it will include community participation, continued wastewater work, things of that nature. And you know, there are specific line items that the committee has that could potentially be reallocated to other expenses that might not necessarily be covered by this grant.
I assume that there has been a big public unveiling of this, because it does say, don't say anything about this.
It's not embargoed anymore. They had a kickoff out at Devon's, I believe.
Okay.
Last week.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Okay, that's what this was about. Okay, or that was about.
Yeah, and that is a large amount. You usually don't get the full 150,000, so well done.
That's good. Okay.
Before we
I
do,
wasn't expecting to get both of them, actually. I was because normally the state only gives one to a town, because they like to spread it around, so.
Right. I don't know. They seem to be very interested in Truro as well and have provided a lot of funding for us because they realize we have no housing and no infrastructure, and it's not going to happen without state investment, so.
Okay, now, I've stated on the agenda that we're not taking public comment, but I assume you're going to be speaking
Yeah,
as a member of the committee.
So Tim has been appointed as the committee's treasurer.
Why don't you come on up to the...
Tim Sayre, I just want to make the board aware that the entire committee is very happy that Ryan pursued this and that we've received it, and that you're aware of all the effort it took to get it. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Chair, I move that the Select Board accepts the Community One-Stop Growth Form, the Housing Choice Grant Program to support Maurice's Campground Redevelopment Master Plan Project in the amount of $150,000.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0. And thank you, Ryan, Tim, and all of you for the work you've put into this.
Well done.
Another well-done initiative.
So, that's kind of off topic.
Is there a vote needed on these,
Given
or are we
COVID, so-
No.
to acknowledge? We're just acknowledging.
I had originally written a motion for you because
Yeah,
I
I'm going to try to...
under the impression that you needed it, but in speaking to Barbara and Ryan, you really don't need it. It just needs to be put in front of you so that there's full transparency.
I understand, and I do understand that you've been in touch with all the proper authorities, and there is not a conflict of interest, even though some people may perceive one, there is not.
Okay, so we still got three more business items to agenda.
All right,
Let's get to, so let's get on it.
So just briefly, I would like to thank Rebecca for her willingness to do this. It's a big part of this community. I also just want to note that we're not her appointing authority.
Well, technically you are, because you have a waiver after 15 days with her.
Right. Mr. Chair, since both of these are really just about acknowledging disclosures of conflict and acknowledgement of her conflict of interest has been submitted, should we take these, can we take these together?
Well, I
We don't.
just have
You wanna-
if I could just comment
Yeah.
on it. I mean, the first one, it's been filed, we take no action on it, so that takes care of the first one. The second one, there's no financial interest identified, so I don't see any action to be taken by the board.
All right,
Yeah, I don't understand why
thank you.
anybody would have any
The ethics just said I had to do it and show you guys. I didn't realize that it didn't need to be in front of you until actually today when Ryan and Barbara both
Okay,
said
so
it.
we don't need to vote on
You don't
these?
need to vote on it, you just need to acknowledge that you saw it and don't have any issues.
All right, so how do we officially acknowledge
Good.
that?
You do it.
just
Good,
did.
Good.
We just
Okay.
did.
Gleefully acknowledged.
Right,
All right, so that, okay, so now we're up to business G,
which is about Christmas.
which is to approve the dates in the letter for non-essential town offices to be closed. Just to specify, the proposal is that town offices close at noon on Wednesday, December 24th, and to be closed Friday, December 26th. You know, the Christmas weekend, basically.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did anybody knock on our door that we know of on the day after Thanksgiving?
No.
I didn't think so. Well, yeah, Tim did, but he knew nobody was there. He just did it so he could say that. Anyway,
Because it has to do with town staff, can we ask the
Yes.
town administrator to weigh in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
if he had his way, he'd be a
Grinch.
Scrooge.
I think the town employees this year have been through an awful trying year, and if the board could see fit to give them this time off, I know they would appreciate it.
What a very judicious thing to say, Mr. Vignano.
Could I,
Yeah, Barbara.
yeah, so I appreciate that, and I'm glad. My only question is, does that leave sort of essential employees sort of out of this? And I'm wondering, is
Yes.
it possible to give them some comp time, or is there anything that can be done for them? John, he's mad at me, I can tell. He's very mad.
Generally speaking, it is for non-essential employees, police, fire, EMS, if there's marina shifts, those are essential. That's just the way it is.
Right, I think they all got their
I'm gonna
own built-in,
reclassify
they're
everybody
built-in,
as
they all have
essential.
built-in,
I know they don't have anything built in, I guess that's why I was asking, but.
in a way, through
Right.
contracts and everything else.
It's just,
So-
if we're conveying this benefit, well, I won't call it a benefit, you know what I mean? This gesture to some staff members, I'm just, the ones who are not benefiting from this, that's why I was asking.
We-
But if it's
we-
not feasible, it's not feasible.
We will also send a letter out if the board approves this, that this does not create any past practice and is not to be considered
The future,
anything other than a one-off.
right. Yeah, other board, yeah, it's really a discretionary decision this time.
It's a select board's, yep.
Okay. With that, I move to approve that non-essential town offices close at noon on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025, and be closed Friday, December 26th, 2025, to reopen for regular business on Monday, December 29th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Brian, aye.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye. Passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I know the employees will be appreciative of the board's effort here.
I hope they have a good day, and a good weekend.
Okay. Now we get on to select board reports. Does anybody else have a report?
I made mine at the beginning of the meeting. Just if anybody, I don't know, I have to be careful,
No.
because
No.
Okay, I do have one. I'm just trying to find something on here that it was pertinent to it. Thought I had it marked.
that reminds me. All right, I remembered one. Well,
Okay, good. Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
While you're looking, so just for the board, I know that everybody was copied on it already, but the Cape Islands Municipal Leaders Association is having
Meeting.
a meeting on Friday, December 12th at 7:30 at the Ardeos and, yeah.
Dennis.
And the topic is really the state of education on the Cape Cod Islands. I know there's a lot of towns that are looking at the, basically the enrollment and also, you know, the federal changes as well as state changes as well, that have all come together all at once.
Could I just dovetail on that? I'm sorry.
Is that 7:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
The town Cape Cod Managers Association is meeting with the superintendents on Friday as well, so this is kind of an orchestrated, concerted effort. Mr. Bugby will be attending that meeting.
Yeah.
And I also just want to remind everybody that there is the tree lighting this Friday at 4 o'clock.
Town hall staff will be serving hot chocolate
Yes.
and lollipops.
Hot chocolate and lollipops. Be there or be square.
And
Anyway,
Christmas out
But I have a quick report. This is from the from the Marina meeting on last Monday, 11/24. It's an update on the dredging from Foth Engineering. They have received an approved sampling plan from the Army Corps of Engineers and began their sampling of Area 1 in the harbor today and will continue tomorrow, which puts them about a month ahead of schedule as far as the permitting process for Area 1 dredging. And they anticipate a 1-month turnaround for the lab results, 6-month turnaround time for the Army Corps of Engineers to issue a suitability determination. For projects that have been repeated several times, such as this one, where there's a fairly high confidence of what the results will be, they may elect to advance the permitting following an internal review of the lab results. So this is now, for a change, moving forward and maybe even a little faster than anticipated, which is good news. So that's all I got. Town administrator report? Ojo, did you have a report?
I have correspondence, if you wouldn't mind.
Sorry.
It's a short one. As always, we receive various administrative correspondence from the executive assistant regarding scheduling documents for various meetings. And same with the town administrator. Assemblymember Green shared an updated Assembly Economic Affairs Committee transfer fee framework memo. Assemblymember Green shared an Assembly Economic Affairs report dated 10/29/25. Assemblymember Green shared the date of a public hearing on proposed ordinance 2025-13, amendment of the regional policy plan per section 8H of chapter 716 of the Acts of 1989, as amended in chapter C, the process to review and amend the regional policy plan. The TA shared a public input opportunity for the Cape Cod Metropolitan Planning Organization. The TA shared a memo regarding the Nauset Regional School District Department of Finance and Operations, memo from Superintendent Brand. We received a letter regarding the Wellfleet Food Pantry's land lease. We received a letter from the Wellfleet Recycling Committee regarding a joint project with the DPW and local liquor stores regarding NIP recycling. We received a letter from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection that they have completed its administrative and technical reviews of the engineering report and plans dated February 12, 2025 to modify the plans for the facility accepting residential sewage flows at 95 Lawrence Road. They have determined the application is administratively and technically complete. Mass DOT is requesting a designated contact person to be established for each each locality owning an NBI bridge. We own one. Request from the TA to provide availabilities for the board to tour 95 Lawrence Road.
That passed.
Excuse me?
go ahead.
Said it passed.
Did it pass? No,
December 15th.
15th, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
a week off, I'm sorry.
We were notified there was a fire alarm went off at Town Hall. Everyone was fine. We received notice from that the county commissioners plan to visit Wellfleet in April to discuss Cape-wide and region-specific issues.
Yeah.
This is a part of a larger tour of all the towns.
Yeah, we're having renovations at the county, so we're on the road.
That's very clever that you framed it as a tour.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. This was a short week because of Thanksgiving. We were notified of an upcoming trial date for a town legal matter. Massachusetts Department of Marine Fisheries shellfish seasonal opening notice for CCB 13.2 Duck Creek began 11/25/2025. However, then the Shellfish Constable responded and reminded the board that the town of Wellfleet has a management closure on Duck Creek and will not open until sunrise of December 1st, which was yesterday. We were informed that there will be a home dedication ceremony for 4 Habitat for Humanity homes on Old Kings Highway on Tuesday, December 9th at 3 p.m. Please meet at the Long Pond parking lot if you wish to attend. There will be shuttles. Assemblymember Green informed the board of the Assembly's Economic Affairs Committee meeting on December 10th of 2025 regarding the transfer fee framework. So if you wish to attend, that is on the 10th. We were invited by the Lower Cape Housing Institute to their winter regional peer group meeting that is also on Wednesday, December 10th. We received a news release from the National Seashore that they will host a public open house on Cable Road Multi-Use Path Project on Tuesday, December 16th from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Salt Pond Visitor Center in Eastham. We received a PowerPoint presentation regarding GHG's sewer proposals. We were informed by the executive assistant of an applicant to a committee has changed their application. We were informed the town was awarded an $85,000 MBI grant for digital equity implementation projects. The Shellfish Constable informed the board the Wellfleet Shellfish Department will host an overwintering meeting on Tuesday, December 9th at 12 p.m. at the library. We received public comment from a member of the public regarding short-term rental registration regulations. We received notice that Duck Creek passed state water quality testing. We received the Nauset Regional Public School Systems enrollment comparison between October 1st, 2025 and October 1st, 2024. We did receive privileged correspondence from council, and we received a draft letter from the town administrator to the Division of Local Mandates, which I imagine he's going to speak about shortly.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Josh. Tom?
Mr. Chairman, I want to start with Mr. Bugby and get an ice machine update.
I thought it died.
No, they've been making some progress.
Yeah, actually, the water line's in. And is John still with us?
Yep, I'm here. I'm here.
Hi, John.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the ice machine update. The water line is in. The concrete slab is due to go in. And the next step in the process will be to have Nancy Chavetta attend I call them SPAT, but I know their name has changed.
Wellfleet Oyster Association.
Yes, that's the one. So she will attend that a meeting of that board for the purposes of requesting funds to fund the engineering work that will be needed for the entire remainder of the scope of work. So from the completion of the slab onward, all that scope of work is going to require stamped engineered drawings. And I think, there's been some pushback about, why do we need stamped engineered drawings? That's really going to escalate the cost. And I get it. I truly do. I think the problem, though, we're finding is each time we've tried to do it differently and kind of give the project to a contractor without plans, they run into problems that has escalated the cost and almost set us backwards in terms of the progress of the project. So I think town staff and the people that are kind of moving this along in this inner circle are in agreement that the most appropriate way to do this and what is going to lead to a project where the ice machine functions in time for next season in a way that that it doesn't create more problems down the road, meaning it'll be designed correctly and work correctly, is via stamped engineered drawings. So that's the path forward. Just to wrap up the timeline, once we get those stamped engineered drawings, I've already reached out to an architect, they're ready to do them. Then we'll go out to bid with those drawings for a contractor to do the entire rest of the project via those stamped drawings. So sorry to be long-winded, but there's a lot of moving parts to this project, and I just wanted to give you the full spectrum. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay. We will be bringing to you at the next meeting a contract for the town hall bathrooms. We bid it. We bid it twice, actually, because the first, as you recall, the first bids came in too high. This is in, I believe, at 110, which is a lot better. But we have to bring it to you because of the $50,000 rule. And, we'll bring that to you in the next meeting. I do want to have a workshop with the select board specifically on the budget before I submit the budget. There are some potholes that I want you to be fully aware of as we go into the season. The numbers are not getting better as time goes on. And the school numbers aren't in yet. We plugged in 6%. But we have some decisions to make on budget reductions or other ways to make the budget work. There are some non-general operating fund expenses that the town appropriates every year town meeting that are not subject to the corporate function of the municipality, but is something that the town, they do a lot of social service agency appropriation. I think we have to take a look at that. I don't know what the answer is yet. That's one area that needs to be looked at. We are pulling the water department together, and that's going to be a more complicated issue than we had originally thought. We found out today, or earlier in the week, excuse me, that simple things like the telemetry, the SCADA system, the Wi-Fi isn't secure. Okay, we're making it secure, okay, but it hasn't been. It's been open for years.
So somebody could have hacked into the water system.
So there are things that we have to address as well. And the marina is going to be another area of discussion. He's working really hard. He's working really hard to get his budget together. He's working with the committee to establish a fee structure that's going to make some sense. It's going to probably be over time. But we have some issues that we want to discuss with that. And then just general operations. The cost of stuff is going up. I'm pleased to say that I heard from our HR director yesterday that we had figured a 20% increase in the blue, in the insurances line. Blues came in at 16. Harvard Pilgrim currently is at 8. So I was able to shave, about 50,000 off of that today.
Good.
We have a lot of projects. We have a lot of expenditures, and we need to take a real good look at it. The next 2 years are going to be brutal. It's going to be like 08, 09, or 09, 10 fiscal years. I see it being kind of like that going forward for the next couple of years. It's cyclical, it happens.
It's also the state of affairs.
Well, I'm not getting involved with, the politics are the politics.
I know.
We have to deal with the reality on the ground.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, but that's why we're
Yeah,
having.
but we need to really take a look at what is priority and what are some things that the board is willing to discuss alterations to.
Okay.
And if you're not willing, if that's not the way we go, then we got to start promoting and working with the finance committee and the school department about an override. I honestly don't think this is the year to do that. I think next year is the year to do that. But that's going to be a policy decision that the select board will make, and I will make a recommendation to you. But it's this as scary of a year as I have seen in 20.
In any number of ways.
Mr. Kopetz will also be here on the 16th, so the board can accept that grant for $85,000. I did want to just make a quick comment, 2 comments, about last night's meeting up in Provincetown. Ryan, thank you for inviting me to that. That was a good eye-opener for, I think, a lot of people. And it's just another indication of when you live in the rural areas and things get cut, those cuts are exponentially felt in a smaller community where there aren't a lot of options. Jay and I met today with Pam Hasner, who used to be with Mass Dot District 5. She's with an engineering firm now, to talk about the new grant programs that are coming out from Mass Dot. One of them offers some engineering money up to, I believe, $150,000, which hasn't been on the dockets before. We're looking at the Main Street sidewalk piece for that. We have some other things, there's culvert programs as well. We may not make the January round, but we may make the spring round. We're working on that. It's a good program. We're really pleased with that as well. And then finally, I just wanted to do a shout out to Christy Senatori down at the county. With the work that she did on the regional policy plan was a lot of work and a lot of effort. And she did a good
They
job.
did listen to comments,
They
and they
did.
made appropriate changes, and they did a good job.
That, Mr. Chairman, I'm all set.
Okay, moving on to topics for future discussion.
Just before that, so was this already sent, the letter?
No, it was, the motion was to bring it back to the board.
Yep.
Right,
I
we're
did
going
not-
to discuss that the
right.
next.
So are we discussing this? When are
Oh, yeah, we should discuss, you're right, Ryan, I forgot. That is a draft letter relative to the unfunded mandate that Mr. Curley brought up at the last meeting. The board suggested that I write a letter and bring it back for your review. It's pretty basic. It doesn't get into a lot of detail. It does do the citations of the original law with Prop 2.5, and then with the CMR, that is the citation for the registry and inspections.
Are we sure we can discuss this? It's not on.
Yeah, we didn't put it on the agenda.
It's not on
so-
the agenda.
Well, what I had thought the board was going to do was take the letter, send back to me the changes they wanted, but
That's fine. I think that's what we should do. If there's anybody that has any changes.
So again, I don't think we should be discussing it because it's not on the agenda, but I'm.
it's part of my report.
What?
It's part of my
But that's-
report.
If we're discussing it, that's different than being part of your report. I mean, I guess I don't support this because I think there isn't any reason why we can't pass along the costs to the short-term rental property owners, and I think it is, so I don't think this is a necessary one, and I'm really reluctant to send in a request for determination under local mandate law when there is another way of paying for this, because they also ask us to provide information on what the financial impacts would be on us, and if we do this, we would need more information, but again, I'll just refrain from voting on this if you take a vote to send it. I just don't think this is the one to write about, because I think we can pass the costs along.
So, I mean, honestly, for this year, you can't, so, without the appropriation at town meeting, there's no way to do that, and the DOR typically does not recognize fees in advance of their receipt. So it wouldn't even if we started collecting them now, it wouldn't be recognized until the following fiscal year. So you can't even book it against those fees in the interim period. Like, it would have to be funded either through use of stabilization fund or an override to cover the expenses.
Of the inspections?
Yeah, until you can't do it through fees until they've actually been received.
But you could, at town meeting, there are ways of making transfers that could be in an article that could fund these upfront, the inspections up front before we can put the fees into place. So I just don't think this is the one, but if we do send it, I think we have to be really explicit, that the only thing we would be looking for is to ask a state representative to seek funding for communities to implement the requirements of the law, and that we're not looking for anything else. Because this is a health and safety thing, and I just don't want to be on record as asking to be excused from the requirement. Just my opinion.
Well, shall we review the letter on our own and,
I think that's a good thing to do.
yeah, why don't we do that and then maybe get it on the agenda for the next meeting?
If we have any other questions.
I would, through the chair, I would hope that the board could make their recommendations, allow the changes to be made. If there's not changes that are conflicting with each other, that this need to go another 2 weeks before it gets sent.
I do.
Okay.
I agree with that, and I also just want to say, we ask Tom to do these things, and then we question every bit of it. So, I mean, we tend to do that a lot. And so, this is all just extra work. We have to be specific of what we're asking.
So through the chair, I didn't ask for this, and I respect my colleague's request for it, and Tom did what he was told, but if I don't agree with it, I don't think I should be.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, we seem to do that a lot. So I just think that I think let's just send the comments to Tom.
That's fine, but again, we don't always agree on everything, and I'm bringing up my objection to it. I'm not saying let's not send it.
I'm not having a dispute with
Okay,
you.
let's
I
not
just
have
made
a back and
comment.
forth.
I just made a comment.
I have a question to the town administrator, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Town Administrator, when was the last time an unfunded mandate was upheld in the Commonwealth?
About 4 months ago.
Really? Okay.
MBTA communities.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of that, is it, I mean.
There was one.
I guess my question, is it common enough where we feel like this is worth it, or are we just throwing this into the void?
There was another one a little bit before then. If you go to the auditor, they'll have a report on.
Oh, yeah, just look at the website.
Okay, no, this is helpful information. I'm just wanted clarification. Okay, thank you.
And they'll have the letters of determination as well, if you're interested in looking at that.
Thank you.
Well, I'm perfectly comfortable with sending any of our observations on to Tom and let him handle it. Anything else from Tom?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then, topics for future discussion?
Same one I've been bringing up is the TA performance
Right.
review. We just need to
Oh.
get it done.
I agree.
I'm gonna help you with that if
So,
I mean, yeah.
you want. Let's get together and do that.
typically, we're halfway through the assessment of his next annual cycle.
Right.
So, yes, if we can just get it done and over with, it would be, yeah.
All right, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, good. Barbara has her hand up.
Barbara?
Thank you, John. So I don't know if this is a topic for discussion, but at an event that Tom and I attended here a couple weeks ago, somebody brought up the fact that, and I know Josh has raised this too, that our meeting recordings are not on YouTube, and it makes them difficult to find and read. So if it
Doesn't have closed captioning.
right, so I don't.
Zoom does now,
But
closed captioning, we paid for it.
But in any event, but whatever it takes, I think, I mean, Josh was kind of
And
spearheading this.
we actually pay for the hosting for the current situation.
Yeah.
So whatever needs to get done, if that needs a vote by us?
No, it just needs to get done. We just need to do it.
Okay.
I'm happy to liaison as.
So we can just talk to the people down there. It's just.
Great.
I do have actually, this might be a topic for future discussion, or maybe it's being handled, and that is audiovisual at Town Hall South.
We are actually, IT and I met, I've also met with the regional cable. I'm getting the lowest price. It's going on the town meeting, and we're going to get it connected.
Okay, good.
I would like to try to come up with a name for the building that's more reflective of the area it's in.
Like the annex?
No, definitely, I hate when
Hold on.
anything is called an annex.
Didn't you ask me to delete that from the goals?
No, I thought that was, yeah, I thought it was.
I don't know, but
We removed that. I love this
Town
idea.
Hall Annex, it says there's a sign out there that says Town
Yeah,
Hall
we can
Annex.
change it.
And
but basically,
they
so,
found it.
so basically the history is that the town hall, the original town hall, or not the original, but the town hall that was there before it burnt down, that was actually the church that was at that cemetery. It was South Wellfleet Church. And so that got moved to the center of town and became the town hall that then burnt down, which there's pictures of in
Right.
town hall. And basically, I think it would be best if we had something that was reflective of South Wellfleet.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, they used to blow up each other's, the reason why the town only has one cannon is that they used to go back and forth and shoot off the cannons as a prank in the middle of the night back in the day, and they would load them with sand and gunpowder, and one of them burst. And so the cannon that's on Town Hall, that was actually hidden in somebody's septic system for decades. It was like a deathbed confession that, oh, by the way, I have a cannon in my septic system. And that's kind of where it came back, because that's why there's two Cannon Hills. So there's, one in South Wellfleet and one in Wellfleet.
Okay.
And I just want something that's reflective of, the historical, area, and that's part of South Wellfleet, so.
Okay.
All right,
Well, we can think about that.
thought about that, right. Okay,
Anything else on topics?
No.
Seeing none, minutes.
I do have just very, very brief corrections on October 28th minutes, second page. Yep.
What's that, Barbara? I'm sorry.
she has an amendment on October 28th.
28th minutes, page 2. I'm just waiting for Rebecca to get there. So kind of middle of the page, Carboni explained why she was in favor of raising the tax rate, and can you just add to 35%? Well, not tax rate, but
The RTE.
the RTE, yeah, the RTE to 35%. And then at the bottom, yeah, to 35%, because that's what I was advocating for. And at the bottom of the page, the first motion should be Carboni moved, member Lyons seconded. It was, and so my motion was to raise the residential tax exemption to 35%. So I just take the not out of there. So that was the motion to raise to 35%. And so I think the roll call vote should be 1 to 4, 1 yes, 4 no, rather than the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, that was it.
I have none.
I had one amendment to the November 14th. It's really just, there's no error, it's just to add clarity. The third paragraph, goals A, it starts with Garino, questioned.
What page?
First page for November 14th. I think we might want to add a sentence, something to the effect of, there was discussion to create a grant writing committee, period.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking at,
Second paragraph, right under A.
it's the third paragraph.
I'm sorry, third?
It starts with Greeno.
What's the second one?
Okay.
Oh, it is the third, I see.
It's a sneaky third.
Yeah,
Second
it's
one's
just-
hiding in
That
there.
second one's only a sentence, yeah, you're right.
There's no context to which committee that is being discussed, so I think that would just be helpful context for the
Yeah,
minutes.
to put a grant, if this grant committee would determine what grants. Okay. yeah,
Okay.
get that.
Yep. And then
Are there any more amendments? If not,
I don't think so.
I will move to approve the meeting minutes of October 28th, 2025 as amended, November 4th, 2025 as printed, November 14th, 2025 as amended, and November 18th, 2025 as printed.
I'm sorry, would you make a friendly amendment and exclude, I wasn't at one of these meetings, and so I was
Oh,
going to abstain.
That's the
from-
18th.
Yes.
And does it say, but if it says that, then you don't have, it is written the way it should be. Oh, so you don't want to vote on that one?
He doesn't want to vote on it.
All right, so I'll just go with the first, all right, so, Mr. Chair, let me withdraw my motion, I'm going to make a new one. I move that we approve the meeting minutes of October 28th, 2025 as amended, to November 4th,
That's the one I'm not voting on.
was it 28th? Or
No,
the
no,
20 the 4th?
the fourth is one I'm not voting on.
Right, oh, okay, because it was the 14th, I'm sorry, that was
Pardon
the
me,
18th.
yes.
November 14th, 2025 as amended, and November 18th, 2025 as printed.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
John, aye.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of November 4th, 2025 as
Second.
printed.
Roll call vote?
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh abstains.
And John, aye. So it passes 4-0 with one abstention.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Aye. Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John,